We are live. What's good, Charles? Your man, DL Saint. Welcome. I really want to know podcast. Summer schedule. I know. Like, come on, Uncle Saint, man. You all over the place. I know. Just going to have to bear with me through the summer. Probably not going to have a ton of people watching the live because, people got stuff to do. It's a weekday. But definitely catch it on Team Replay. And, it is what it is. Crazy title, I know. Arranged relationships. Is it time to bring back arranged relationships? Maybe. Let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed. You guys know lately I have been having trouble sleeping. It's just my body schedule is all out of whack. I'm like on tactical mode. I'll be up till 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning sometimes. It's crazy. I will get 8 hours of sleep, but it just messes up the clock. So today, even though I was on Glenn Lawrence's podcast until 3:30 a.m., I got off of that podcast. I wound up going to sleep around 4:30-ish. And I set my alarm. I'm like, I got to get up. And when I got up, I was pleasantly surprised by a phone call from Sister Shoo. Shout out to her. And I just want to report to y'all that she is doing excellent. She recently wrapped up a project where she was brought in to edit. She did an outstanding job. I was lucky enough to see some of the project, actually all of the project. I was able to see, I was one of the few people who were able to get a look at that before they made their final adjustments and color corrections and all that. So I got to see the whole thing. Outstanding. They won awards. She was flying all over the world to, with this project. She did an outstanding job. So she's been really busy. I haven't talked to her in a while. And then, I was pleasantly surprised when I got up. I say this morning, it was like 12. It was already afternoon technically. But, I was excited to talk to her. She's doing really well. She's started another project. Like, people are starting to come and get her. Like, hey, man, y'all knew her here first. Just a matter of time before you see Sister Shoo out there on the red carpet, man, like doing some A-list movie somewhere. So, shout out to her. I keep telling, like, girl, don't forget about me once you make it big. And she's just about there. Like, she's taking some giant steps toward making it big. So shout out to Shamira. It's so good to see her, hear from her. I know she's doing well. I mean, I'm always checking, when Mandrell's on there, we're always asking Mandrell how his sister's doing. But it was good to actually talk to her. I didn't want to bug her because I knew she was busy. So I'm just so happy that she took time out of her day to catch up with me. So shout out to Shoo. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all tuning in, checking it out. Y'all know I'm trying to make it happen. Shout out to YouTube for trying to suppress our content. I don't know what's wrong with them people. You know what I mean? Really, it's just their AI. But it is what it is. We're going to keep pushing forward. You know what I mean? Shout out to all of the new subscribers, people who are coming over, checking this out, man. I really appreciate y'all. I appreciate the kind words. I go in the hostile areas out here in these YouTube trenches, and, I walk in and sometimes it's a battle. But, I mean, if you hold fast to who you are, if you're true to yourself, people are going to respect that. Even people who may not have liked you in the beginning, but if you hold it down and you keeping it real, they're going to respect that. So that's one of those things that, you guys can learn as a life lessons for you young guys out here. Don't be wishy-washy, man. Figure out who you are and stay true to yourself, right? To thine own self be true, and other people will respect that. They might not like where you're coming from. They might not like all your views, but they will respect it. When they figure out that you are not on anyone's team, when they figure out you were Ronin, like, you're a masterless samurai, you're out there and you're living by your code, and your code is based on good. They're going to respect that. So shout out to all the new folks coming through. Appreciate you. Base Oracle's in the building. What's good, bro? You want to talk about somebody who stands on their square, like someone who, is walking, doing his best to walk the righteous path. I respect that. I respect Base Oracle, man. Thanks for pulling up. I appreciate you. Um, so today we're going to talk about this whole, is it time to bring back arranged relationships, man? I'm not talking about forced marriages, but it seems that men and women are having a very difficult time connecting. What reasons are behind it? It is as many reasons behind this as there are people out there, right? But if you look at it, folks just aren't coming together. So I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm thinking maybe it is time to have some help with that, right? You got people out here paying money to coaches. Women are paying money to coaches. Men are paying money to pick up artists, coaching and whatever. They're buying literature. They're doing. People are trying to solve for this problem, and the problem seems to be getting worse. So, is it time to actually help people? And should we give this arranged relationships thing a try? Dr. B's in the building. What's good, fam? Good to see you. Is it time? I don't know, maybe. So I have video from Professor Scott Galloway loaded up. We're going to react to one of his interviews, and he was talking about this in particular, like what's going on with dating. Scott Galloway is out here. He's really concerned with these young men who are being left behind. He's really concerned with these invisible dudes. And a lot of his talking points overlap with the talking points coming out of the red pill world, the manosphere. But I don't believe mainstream media has labeled Scott Galloway as red pill. Not yet. I'm pretty sure their haters will come. See, Dr. B, honestly, at this point, it's not a bad idea. Talking about arranged relationships. Women and men are not looking for which or for watch others at the same time at all. Did I read that right? Women and men are not looking for watch or what each other at the same time at all. Women don't want men who have nothing, and men don't want women who are older. For each. There you go. I was trying to figure that out. Yeah, for each. So yeah, man, you're right. And this is why I kind of brought that up. Base wants to know if I'm going to open the panel. Of course, man. Let me I'm going to open the panel. I'm gonna put one. Give me a second. Let me invite. I'm gonna drop the link right now for you, and then I'm gonna erase it. So let me know once you get the link. There it is, bro. So hit that. Do me a favor, hit that link or copy and paste that link, because I'm going to erase it, and then I'll drop it again when I'm ready for everybody to pop up. But I do want to. I want everyone's opinion on this. Yeah, let me know when you get that, bro. So, all right, Marine, time's up. I'm gonna leave that there for just a hot second. Base, let me know when you get the link. Case in point, Vivica 5660 looking for a husband, like really facts. Now, this is just a more of a thought exercise, right? This is more of a thought exercise, and but looking at everything that's going on, I'm like, yeah, bro, we might need something like this. It would all be based on the buy-in. Cool, base. We'll see you in 5. It'll all be based on the buy-in. So, but I think we're at that point, bro. I really do. I think we're at that point where something needs to happen. Remember, even when I was growing up, and you guys know I'm in my 50s, when I was growing up, your family had a big influence on who you would see. Like, your family didn't really care who you were just messing with, playing around with, smashing, whatever. But they would try to find a quote unquote good woman for you. They would encourage these relationships. They would try to, get you to meet. They would take you places, and they knew the girl would be there. Or if it was like for my daughter, if I wanted my daughter to be with a certain young man, I would force her to come to events that I know that young man is going to be present. And how do I know? Because the parents of the young man are telling me, hey, let's bring the kids here. Let's bring the kids there. Let's see what happens. Right? Let's take them to the amusement park and make them stay together, kind of thing, because they're teenagers. Like, oh, y'all got to stay together. Meet us in a couple hours at such and such. Or, have a barbecue and only invite them, and everyone else is older. So the kids are just kind of gravitate towards each other because it's just the two of them. Like, man, all these old people, I can't believe they made me come, kind of thing. So you're trying to encourage, right, this relationship. You're trying to arrange in a relationship. That doesn't happen anymore because, there's been so much damage done to the family, in my opinion. So let's jump on and listen to this. Is Professor Scott Galloway. I've always been a fan of Scott Galloway. I can't remember when I first saw him on the scene. It's been a couple years now. And he's been talking about helping young men and helping young boys become men. He's been talking about, how our society here in America are treating these young men, these individual guys, these invisible men, right? So let's jump in and listen to what Brother Scott has to say.
Around how technology disrupts traditional industry as a means of making a living, and I make a good living, and I want to continue to do it. I enjoy making money. I'm a capitalist. I enjoy making money. I enjoy spending it. I enjoy giving it away. But the thing I'm kids than was provided for me, and then to expand that circle to my extended family, my friends. That's my purpose in life, is to leave with, if you will, having surplus value. It is the way I like to think of it. That's very meta what I think my purpose is. Professionally, I want to have a large footprint and extended reach around how technology disrupts traditional industry as a means of making a living, and I make a good living, and I want to continue to do it. I enjoy making money. I'm a capitalist. I enjoy making money. I enjoy spending it. I enjoy giving it away. But the thing I'm most focused on now is what I'll call, for lack of a better term, struggling young men. I relate to this group of people. I was one of them. I don't think that they have the advocates they deserve. I think there's a lot of factors that have resulted in, we talk about the homeless crisis in the US. 70% of homeless are men. 74% of opioid overdoses are men. Suicide. Yeah, we have a homeless, an opioid, and a suicide problem, but for the most part, we have a male homeless, a male opioid overdose, and a male suicide problem. But people never want to frame it that way. And so I relate to these young men. I think it's a huge issue, and it's something where I feel like I have something to say about it. So, meta, I want to have surplus value. But on a tactical level, I want to have reach and influence around struggling young men, and also just nakedly to continue to have make a really good living so I can have great experiences with my family and friends.
So I'm glad that Scott said all those things. Brother Scott said all those things because he stands on that. He was on The View recently. I think over the past couple weeks or so. He travels a lot, so I believe that he and his family now are based in London, but he has to travel. He does a lot of travel all over the world. He was talking about, his thing. He's a huge advocate for men, and in particular boys. He really wants boys to become successful, productive men. And he's looking at what's going on right now, and he's seeing how there's this huge, buyout. These guys are just not connecting. They're not getting involved, these young boys. And he was on The View talking about this. He was hitting all of his talking points, and dude got emotional at one point. I think it was because he was tired. It might have been some other stuff going on behind the scenes. Maybe he's dealing with some stuff that maybe he lost a friend or whatever. But he's so passionate about this, man. Like, dude got emotional on The View, and he was just like, God, dog. He was able to pull himself together. And I see him also. He was being interviewed by a podcaster who's like up and coming. I forget her name. Same thing. He got emotional, man, because he really cares about this. And I think it's because of his upbringing, and he can relate to these guys. And that's what he was just saying there. Like, man, I was one of these dudes. Even though the guy's over 6 feet, he's fit. He's, very, very wealthy now. He's been divorced before. He lost a lot of money doing that, and he got it all back again. He was a tenured professor at NYC, NYU, I think it was. One of those colleges on the East Coast. I think it was NYU. He was a 10-year professor there. I think he's an economist, or, economy is his thing. So very successful guy, but he's spending a lot of time trying to address these issues and trying to put a spotlight on these issues because they are male issues and no one seems to care. Let's continue.
I think Japan is particularly having a hard time with the loneliness epidemic. I've just been there for the past few weeks, and the society is so fascinating.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I've been to America, and I would say a lot of Americans tend to be quite aggressively extroverted. Like, it's a very extroverted place, I find. In Japan, it's the complete opposite. Everybody literally just keeps to themselves. And I think it's got to the point there where a lot of the guys just don't interact with girls. In fact, there is a service now where you can actually pay to rent girlfriends for an hour or 2 hours in Japan. And you can actually go to these cafes or salons, whatever they are, where you can have a 30-minute cuddling session.
He ain't lying. That's true. The cuddling sessions and the pay for a boyfriend for a day. But what's also true, it's a big business over there with women who pay for a wedding for all the photos and everything, the dress and everything, and sometimes they hire a man to pose as the groom, and that's a big business as well. These women are getting their wedding without being married. Brother Base Oracle is in the building. What's good, fam?
What's up, man?
How you feeling, bro?
Very good. Very good.
I know you out and about, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna be home soon, but anyways, yeah, it's interesting, I guess, what's going on. And one of the funny things to me is when you look at the people complaining, like the dudes complaining about, can't find a woman or whatever the case. And meanwhile, it's always been like this throughout all of history, way before you and I were here.
That's a fact. I believe it. So what's your take on the title of this particular stream, man? Arranged relationships. Is it time to bring that back? Is that something we should try to do? Or should we just let, enjoy the decline, like so many people say?
Well, I don't think either. Again, I would think of this as another false dichotomy. And I'm not saying that you're perpetuating it, but just in terms of there's a lot of other choice, right? When you say, should we bring it back, right? Should we bring them back? How do you mean? Like, do you mean legally or, socially, like culture?
What I mean by that is, like, when I was young, arranged relationships were a thing, right? It was a thing. Like, it wasn't uncommon. So like your mom or your grandma, one of your aunts meets another person, like in my case, it'd be like a nice young woman in another family, and they would encourage us to come together. And how they would do that is set up events, and they would have, like a barbecue, or we'll go to the amusement park, or go somewhere and force the kids, me and whoever the girl is, to sit there and communicate and get to know each other. That was their attempt of trying to cultivate a relationship between, the two kids. And when I say bring it back, I'm kind of making, talking about that. It used to be that your family would be involved, not with just banging girls. I ain't talking about that, but like here is a nice woman. You should be talking to this. Even my father, like, of all the girls you've been messing with, and this is when I was in high school, he had his favorites. You should be talking to her right here. Quit messing with these other girls. This is the woman you should be with. And, the woman he was talking about, we remained cool. We're still the best of friends, closest of friends to this day. And I didn't listen to my pops. If I'd have listened to him, I probably would be married to her, probably have 3 or 4 kids and be retired and all that good stuff. But I didn't listen to my dad. That was his attempt to say, hey, man, you quit messing around with these other girls. This is the one. So I'm talking about along those lines. Looks like we lost Base. He'll jump back in a little bit. Cody is King is in the building. What's good, fam? Yeah, Cody, we're looking at Dr. Scott, Professor, I think it's Professor Scott Galloway. And, the title of this particular live is Arranged Relationships, bro. Should we bring back arranged relationships? That's the title, man. Base jumped on. I'm definitely going to be dropping a link here in a minute. But Scott Galloway is about to start talking about the struggles, the dating struggles that men and women are having and why. We've heard these talking points, but I thought this would be a good video to use to highlight these, these issues. So I think Base is going to probably jump back on here once he gets into the house. So let's continue with the video.
With a woman who will cuddle you.
Yeah, it's been that way in Japan for a while, and suicide rates among teens has been high in Japan, or it's over-indexed for a while. And I don't know the specific data on Japan, but the U.S. is either catching up or surpassed Japan, and a lot of it is loneliness. I was on a call with the Department of Homeland Security, and they asked me to give them some advice around the threats posed by AI. And they wanted to talk about self-healing weapons and misinformation and the likelihood of it becoming sentient. And I said, I think you're missing the biggest threat of AI, and that is loneliness. And I think what you see in America, and I can't speak to it as much about what's happening in Japan, but in America, you have a group of young men who are not cut out for college. Their prefrontal cortex doesn't mature as fast. They're in more single-parent homes, and there's just no getting around it. When a boy loses an adult male role model, the likelihood he goes to college, the likelihood that he finds a mate plummets, and his likelihood of suicide, obesity, depression skyrockets. And so you have young men are just, what we found with most studies is that while girls are physically weaker, emotionally and mentally, they're stronger than boys. And so you have more single parent households, you have a lack of middle-class jobs or manufacturing base, and you also have the brightest, most well-resourced people in the world trying to convince young men that they can have a reasonable facsimile of life on a screen with algorithms. You know, they don't need real.
I mean, he ain't lying right here, man. He makes a fascinating point that young boys who grew up in a environment devoid of male influence, i.e., grow up single family house and the mom, you know, is the head of the household, no male influence. I didn't know there was a higher likelihood that kid would be obese, lonely, introverted or whatever, higher likelihood of self-deletion. I didn't think about that, but it makes sense. You know, it definitely makes sense. And that's kind of crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the let me pop the link in again in case Brother Cody want to pop up. And we got and Brother Cody was saying, I think this is a good idea. I can't wait to hear his talking points. Hopefully he can jump up. Sister Michelle's in the building. What's good, sis? Hey, just so you guys know, we got a late night show scheduled for today. I haven't put the thumbnail up, but it's gonna be midnight Eastern time, and it's gonna be 11 o'clock Central time. Sister Michelle and I are gonna have a conversation about the new norm when it comes to relationships. There's so many, poly relationships out there, open marriages, stuff like that. So Sister Michelle's agreed to pop up, and we're going to have that conversation tonight. Late show over here. And I really want to know podcast. It'll be midnight, 12 a.m. Eastern time. Brother Pablo's in the building. What's good, fam? Like, yeah, Cody's like, damn, that's late. I know, man, summer schedule, you know how it is. But we run when we can. If someone can only do a show at a certain time, I don't care where they are on the planet, I'm gonna stay up to do the show because I like having these conversations. And Sister Michelle, like, it's gonna be fun. Thank you so much for the invite. Oh yeah, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a crazy show. The West Coast will definitely be in the house. Check this out. Brother Base Oracle's back in the building, y'all.
Yeah, back.
So yeah, man. But I was talking when I say like let's bring it back. I was referring to that, like back in the day, like in the 70s and 80s. That was pretty much the norm. Probably before that, that's how it worked for everybody. And there's still people out here now, more of the elites, like the 1%, in all bubbles, Black, Asian, Latino, white. They still do it, and they do it through organizations. Like there's an organization called Jack and Jill, on the in the Black community, where the well-to-do Black folks bring their kids into this organization, and instead of just picking individual kids, they bring them all, and they do a bunch of events. They do black tie stuff. They do balls. They do all this stuff, but the whole purpose is so they can integrate their kids amongst each other, and they're hoping hard to make them get together. That's what they're hoping. They're hoping to arrange these relationships.
I see what you mean now. But I mean, here's the thing. Would it be good for good fathers, what we could refer to as good fathers, to pick out the groom for their daughters? Sure. Yeah. Why not? But look around. Most people fucking suck. They can't make good decisions when it comes to what they put in their body, let alone somebody else's life. So my point is that I get your sentiments, but to me, it's not the core of the issue whatsoever.
That's a good point. We got Flow State in the building. Let's Kazang.
We was
to see
kangs.
Good to see you, bro. I don't, that's y'all. They got a whole other way of talking on their side of the internet, and I'm learning. I'm getting up to speed.
Well, they wanted me to do my 4.4%.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
So, brother Cody, man, what's your take on it, man? You were saying that it might be a good idea.
Yeah, I think would be a pretty positive idea. Honestly, I think pretty wholesome. I say that for a few reasons. Not only because you could say it would be more similar to the supervised courtship of the days before,
right?
Where men and women were allowed to see each other, but it was under watch to make sure things were appropriate and civil and all this other kind of stuff, not inappropriate, nothing too out of hand happening, let's say, like the people tend to do when they're left alone. But apart from that, I think like just the fact that if it's an arranged marriage, most likely it's families picking, or even if it's arranged dating, let's say, because that's more what I meant by it is that's families picking out at least what would be considered as another family that they would have good relations with, right? Somebody that, and then if you're dating this girl or this guy whose family you have good relations with, you want to keep good relations with that family. Well, you're inclined to, number one, not do them dirty, right? And number two, at least give it a good, wholesome effort, right? So you're not going after it with poor intentions, let's say. But even if it is a temporary thing, and that's how you're starting kids off dating, I think it's a good, as long as it is like morally done that way, you're arranged with expectations that you're supposed to be, polite and doing things proper. It's good practice for kids if they are going to be dating to do it under that kind of guided supervision, so that when they do, if and when they do go off by themselves to do that, it's less of a selfish, predatory way. Like a lot of people date for just temporary entertainment. You know what I mean? Both men and women. But
yeah, that's a fact.
I think it would be good in that aspect. I probably got more things to say about it, but yeah.
and as this video unwinds, because brother Scott is going to get into the dating struggles of men, and he's also going to highlight the dating struggles of women a little bit. So I think it's going to be good. We got brother D Mac in the building. What's good, fam? And looks like D Mac is siding more with Based. He's like people are making good choices now. They're not making good choices.
Let me give you an analogy here, DL. I'm going to try. So I got to ask you a question first. What is your perception of the food in public schools across America? Do you think it's good, bad,
it's horrible? It's absolutely
horrible. Okay,
it's absolutely horrible.
Okay, so
it's not even real food, man. Ketchup is a vegetable. Get the fuck out of here.
Right. So think about this. Right now, let's just say kids go to school, they pick out the food that they want to eat while at school, okay? And to the arranged marriage analogy, well, instead, parents will pick out the food for the kids. My point is, it'll be more of the same women in society who it's like, well, they're making bad choices. Well, most of their parents are also making bad choices, and that's the reason the kids are making bad choices.
Can I make an adjustment? Can I make an adjustment to your analogy? I like the analogy. Sure. It's a good one. So in my world, what I'm talking about, as opposed to, hey, Billy, you're going to date Susie, that's it. So instead of saying the kids get to pick their own food and now mom and dad's going to pick the exact food, no. What the parents are doing is only making good food choices for the kid. In other words, it's all good food. It's like salad, it's healthy meals, it's balanced, it's this and that. So the child is only going to be able to pick something that mom and dad is cool with. Does that make any sense?
No, I agree. But the problem is mom and dad are cool with bullshit. So what I'm getting at is, if, let's say, people get better. Let's say they suck now and they get less sucky. They become better. Well, the parents will be making better choices, but so will the children. So whether or not mom and dad are picking them out, they'll more naturally be inclined to pick choices like mom and dad would pick out. What I'm getting at, I mean, in the end, is your idea is fine, but I think it's more of a natural idea in a society that gives a shit about family. In this society overall, I'm not telling you my opinion, I'm just looking at the facts, the actions. This society in the US largely does not care about family because largely they do not care about themselves. That's evidenced by the actions. So with that, I'm just getting at the point of arranged marriage. This idea that you're conceptualizing bringing back would naturally come back with good order, with good people, individuals, and therefore society. Do you see what I'm getting at? This is more of the end result than it is a solution.
I do. I see where you're coming from. Brother Cody, what's your take on that? And before you go, Dr. B was saying, I really think it's a good idea too. It's like everyone's kind of like, yeah, this might work. Brother Cody, what's your take on what Baseman said?
I mean, that's all fine and dandy. I think it's kind of silly to say not to do something because some people potentially would do it poorly or be negative about it, right? I mean, you could say that for anything.
But what are you going to do?
Defeats the purpose of doing anything.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
what are you
the whole
going to
idea
do?
is still valid, like setting up an arranged date, right? For the reasons I said, it's already created a structure of good intentions, at least in theory, because it's, if the parents are, like I said, there's, what do you call it? There's consequences, or not so much consequences, but you're beholden to your parents and that other family as well. Like, you will be judged, so they expect good behavior out of it. It's not just some random that you can find and do dirty and leave. Right. It's like you're going to face those consequences, and it's going to stick to you too. So it's a good incentive to be moralistic with your dating. I think it's good practice that would make sense for kids just starting out to start off that way.
You're missing my whole point, though. What I'm getting at is good parents are already doing it.
Because your point is like the bad parents will do that shittily. It's like, my point is, a lot of those guys won't be the ones trying to do the arranged dating anyway, because they don't give a fuck.
That's what I'm getting at, is how are you going to implement it, right? You're saying, well, individuals, why don't you start doing that? And my point is, individuals who are good, it's already going that direction, already is that direction. The kids already respect the parents to the degree that they would take input or, quote unquote, arranged.
Yeah, I think what Base is saying has a little bit of weight there. Not more than a little bit of weight. I think that what Base is saying is, okay, yeah, we should, if we fix a lot of these single parent households, or if society makes it to where they encourage mom and dad to at least try to work it out with respect to kids and stuff like that, maybe change the family court laws to take away incentives for divorce. If we did that, then those parents would naturally get engaged in their children's lives and try at least to arrange a relationship or relationships for their kid. So I get what you're saying. You're not necessarily
theory, but
yeah, I think that's the thing.
Whether that happens or not is debatable, right? But I don't think just because you should. So let's say because it almost sounds like you kind of agree with the concept that it'd be a good idea and wholesome, right? So like, why if it is, then why not encourage that? Why not we encourage that for the rest of society? Or why not have society encourage that? Just because some people are doing it doesn't mean we shouldn't encourage more people to do so, to do good, right? Like,
how? Yeah, okay.
Well, stuff like this, like we're talking about it right now, whether it's even a good idea.
Okay,
right?
So us talking
I kind of feel
about
like you're shutting it down rather than even.
No, you're missing my point. If you think I'm shutting it down, you're missing my point completely. I'm trying to get at the crux of what you're trying to accomplish. So you're saying us talking about it here may inspire someone. Let's say inspire. I don't want to make your argument for you, but I think I'm about to.
I'm not even saying that us doing it will inspire. I'm saying that us talking about it right now is just exploring the idea. But if it is good, why not say encourage society to encourage that?
Sure. So again, I'm trying to formulate this. You're saying us talking about it may inspire fathers, or are you saying fathers and mothers, to tell their children, hey, you're not dating anyone unless I tell you?
Well, maybe
That's also
to
not
that
what I'm saying either.
Yeah,
Well,
not
I'm
to
trying
that
to
extent.
figure out what you're saying.
Yeah,
So.
not to that extent. I'm saying it wouldn't just be fathers and mothers. It's the village concept, right? It's grandma, right? It's your aunties and your uncles. Like it's the people you look up to in your family who are encouraging you by putting you in situations with these good kids. Now, here's the thing. Like I said earlier, my father tried to encourage me to be with this particular girl. And now that life is over, I mean, my life, I ain't dead yet, but I'm just saying now, looking back, he was right. I really should have listened to Pops. And it was just my dad, which really should have been enough. There's a lot of people out there say how men lead. But my father trying to force me into a relationship with someone that I don't even like, I don't know if that's going to work. So you have to put the children in relationships, put them in the environment with kids. Like back to your analogy with the food in the school lunch program. If everything there is healthy, I really don't give a shit what you eat, because you can't get pizza, you can't get nachos, right? We only got healthy shit here. So whatever they're going to choose is going to be good.
Yes,
So,
I get it. But what you're missing, I think what you're both missing out of what I'm saying, I'm probably not explaining it well, so let me try to be more abstract.
Yeah, get better, Marine. Make me understand.
I'm going to force you to get it. So
damn, no diddy, y'all.
Here's what I'm saying. The difference between commanding and demanding. And my point is that children with a very good parent-to-child relationship, where the child totally, or we'll say binarily, they totally trust in their parent, is already going to be at that level, whether or not it is a quote-unquote arranged relationship. But nonetheless, that will be the level of respect necessarily that they want their parent to do that in a sense. The difference is you're talking about maybe, in some term, demanding the respect, because the action that would be necessary to implement what you're talking about on a large plane would be, hey, parents, listen, force your children. You're not dating unless I tell you. So it's either a command or a demand. There's no in between.
I think there's no in between.
You're mixing up fucking arranged and mandated, though, base, I feel.
Well, okay, how are you going to implement it then?
If I arrange a playtime for my kid, doesn't mean like you're gonna go to this fucking thing whether you want to or not.
Oh, you know what I mean? Okay. Well, I got you. So you're saying like you would set up options. I got you.
Arranging dates or arranging, say, a courtship or like a practice relationship for kids coming up into puberty and stuff isn't the same as, say, like arranging a permanent fucking marriage and saying this is what it is because we signed this fucking deal with this family and you're gonna do this, bitch.
I see what you're saying.
It's not quite the same. I'm thinking a much more wholesome, community guided type of action. You know what I mean? But more community in the sense of both families are observing. And then
but they may pick very different people. They may have very different interests.
It doesn't even mean that they would necessarily, the way I'm thinking of it, at least, it doesn't mean that you would force the kids to go, if they really didn't want to go see this other person, go do that.
I got you.
But if say, like, fuck, if I can find another family and say, fucking Jimmy over here, like he's got a gorgeous daughter. Like, I know Jimmy, he's a fucking stand-up guy. I would like my kid to go know Jimmy's daughter, and maybe they'll, like, I see nothing wrong with that at all. I think that's super positive.
Yeah, and that's what I'm proposing. It does. Scam, bro. I see you about to pull you up in a second. That's what I'm proposing. I'm proposing along those lines. Like, hey, encourage. Like, we're doing our best to encourage a good choice by our kids. Now, here's the thing: they might not bite. Yeah. They might not bite. They might be out here, knocking off these 304s and get one of these girls pregnant, and it's like, oh shit. Now, you know what I mean? Now these wholesome people ain't gonna want you. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? So you kind of, damn.
You're held accountable, even at a young age. So you can kind of stomp out what would grow to be extra bad behaviors could get, in theory, snipped up real quick and guided correctly. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully. So base, we're not saying, we're not, putting that thing to their head like you will do this. Nah, we're just trying to encourage it, almost like a subtle Jedi mind trick. Or, hey, we're surrounding you with these awesome options. Hopefully he's going to choose one of these women, right?
Yeah, no, I get you, but that encouragement is already happening. I don't know how encouraging would work. I can't think of a term that makes sense, but I get what both of you are getting at. Now, you're not talking about what my perception is or was of like Indian marriages, arranged marriages.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
I got you.
No, because I have a big Sikh population here where I live too, and they have mixed feelings about it. Some are fucking all for it,
Yeah.
and some absolutely.
But you get where I was coming from if that was the
absolutely.
case.
I don't believe in mandated a lot of things, dude. I think that's absolute horseshit. I think people should have the right to make their own choices.
Yeah, even your kids. And Brother D-Mac is saying the upside far outweighs the downside. The reason why we are screwed up is because we don't have arranged marriages. You know, I hold short of the arranged marriage part. I'm just encouraging the kids to marry within that group.
Yeah, I think in the West,
said that backwards, but yeah.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I know I'm old.
No. D-Max said it back. Can you pull it back up?
Yeah.
No, I think he had it right.
What I'm saying is the reason we don't have arranged
the downside. Yeah.
The reason we don't have arranged marriages is because we're screwed up. That's what I would put it as.
Oh, okay.
Again, I don't look at Band-Aids as solving a fucking thing.
I don't think that not having arranged marriages is necessarily bad, but like I do agree that like in the West, I would say we encourage, say, the youth to go out and fucking randomly find, you know, the one or whatever fucking thing. Go play the field, and I think that is kind of toxic and causes a bunch of the problems. But I think that's more because we encourage loose,
like fresh and fit.
Loose love kind of thing, right?
But it always come back to fresh and fit with base, bro.
As far as just going out into the world and finding your own person, nothing wrong with that either necessarily. Probably harder to do, you know. A lot more room for danger, let's say.
And look, am I wrong, DL? What he was describing, is that not fresh and fit? I'm not even joking. Like, is that not them encouraging to go out? I mean, Cody was describing it as toxic.
So no, I'm not disagreeing at all. I'm just making. I know.
No. I get it. But I'm saying I think this one was pretty legit.
This is definitely legit. And here's the thing. So how do you combat the fresh and fits of the world, right? Full disclosure, those are my guys. But how do you combat the fresh and fits of the world? It's with the strong family foundation. When your family is telling you, hey, I know you're watching a video with that guy and he's saying you should go out and sleep with 50 women. Let's talk about that.
The truth.
The truth. Let's talk about that. And, you know, I mean, right now we're in a situation where, you know, the single parents are working so hard anyway, they don't even have time to talk to their kids. And then you don't have mom and dad in the same home. So mom and dad can't get on the same, you know, like mom's like, hey, I heard him watching this video on Fresh and Fit. Oh my God, it's crazy. You need to tell him to stop watching it. Well, let me watch and see what's going on. And dad's like, all right, I see what they're saying. Let me have a talk with my son. Right. It's just because we don't have the family. Like I think you said it, Base. They've managed to destroy the family in America. Now we're further and further away from what we're talking about right now, where Brother Cody's talking about, what I'm talking about, and the people in the chat. Maybe we're at a point where we need to be trying to do some shit like that. Now we got so many ratchet ass parents out there, you know, ratchet ass people out there. They're competing, you know, with you for, you know, your kids. You know what I mean? Like, all right, listen to us. I don't have a problem with Fresh and Fit teachers. I'm not even gonna say teachers, what they put out there. Like, I don't have a problem with what they put out there. I understand what they're trying to do. However, there are a lot of guys who listen to this message and they don't understand what's being said. They take it literal and they go out here and they probably get themselves into a situation.
Like Fresh. So with that said, you asked, well, I'm just saying, did he not put himself in a situation taking his own so-called advice?
Well, he was doing what he was doing. And, you know, like I said, he was going, it was a heavyweight bout. He won, but he took some, you know what I mean? He took some hits. And hopefully
if that's a win, I don't want to know what a loss looks like.
Well, I mean, you got to look at what was the mission? The mission was to smash, right? The mission was to smash. Did he smash? Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished, bro.
You could have a shit set up in an arranged marriage too, right? Like it is a numbers game to a point. Like everybody's a little bit fucked.
Yeah, go ahead, Cody.
It's not so much about what Fresh and Fit is doing. I'm saying like the whole loose love, date temporarily thing. as a whole concept for our Western society is toxic in general. And fresh and fit aren't the fucking cause of that. They're the reaction to that, if anything.
Yeah, but they're profiteering. They're encouraging more of it.
I mean, okay.
I don't know about that, and we're gonna have a separate show about that base because I want to stay on message. I want to stay on mission.
Okay. But you did ask. You asked. I don't know if you were asking me or us or just putting it out there, but you said, "What do we do to combat it?" And my answer is the truth. Put out the truth. Correct when mistruths come out, i.e., lies, and correct it for the correction of society, right? Of the individual, and then the family, and then society. I mean, that is how it works.
Right, but where does that truth come from? And that's
well,
like
it comes from you. It comes from me, right? Like if you say something that I find to be untrue, do I not tell you and explain why?
Absolutely. But on a larger picture, it should come from mom. It should come from dad. It should come from grandma, grandpa, the family.
I agree. It should.
Right, and I'm with you on that. But we are definitely gonna do a fresh and fit show, bro. Remember what I was talking about before when I told you need to give me your word. If I can make something happen, that you will be professional and no cheap shots and all that bullshit. And you gave me your word. I'm still working on that, bro. Like I said, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
They might be getting desperate now, so they might take it.
Nah, they get damn this dude right here. Like base, wow, I fucking bring you on. But
right, but that's what they all say.
But I appreciate it though. You know what I mean? Because I want all these different viewpoints. Brother Nightish is in the house. You know, I've been trying to do that. Scam, bro. What happened, man? I brought you up, man. It looks like you're there you go. Let me bring you back again. Scam Likely's in the house, man. He's been patiently waiting, patiently listening. Jay Swan
was good.
You know, it's like, hey fam, as someone who folks try to get me to do exactly what you're talking about, it can work, but if you're a man or woman, be an adult or make your own decisions about who you want to be with. Yes, and this is from Jay Swans, and Jay Swans knew I wasn't gonna mention his name, but yeah, that's these organizations, stuff like that. Me and Jay Swans, we talk about this stuff all the time. I'm definitely trying to keep up with the chat, guys. We're falling behind. This is a good conversation. Scam Likely's in the building, bro. What's happening, man? What's your take on all this?
It's good that y'all aren't with the arranged marriage as far as forcing people to be together and colonize them. That's just an absolute no-no. But as far as putting people in the right places to meet each other is a good idea. The problem is you're talking about unarranged people in an unarranged environment, and the very parents ain't even arranged, and their relationships from that time is jacked up. And the communication amongst people in this world is just bad. There's not people listening, understanding, to the point where there's parents who don't even understand their children or their whatever, and then trying to throw them out there and tell them what they should and shouldn't do. Not understanding the environment, like they're not understanding that a relationship, that a marriage, that it's a lot that goes with it. Jay Swans will probably tell you, if he, like you say, he's stand-up dude, has the real conversations, that it's a whole process, and it's not all these stupid talking points about the money and the hypergamy and the 10%, 18.2%. It's a whole thing about it's a man over here and it's a woman over there. And if you put them on a couch in a living room, they got to understand they're going to be on that couch for hours every day, for weeks, for months, and for years. And if they can't just get along and like each other from the gate before you even get to the money and all the other stuff, it's going to be a problem. It takes a certain amount of skills to actually be able to work with people. And it takes a lot of skills to be able to understand and people to work with you. And most people just don't have it. I ain't gonna lie, I got dust with my own self. I got some great qualities and I got some dust. But it's a lot of stuff that becomes unrealistic, and people only hear the fractions. Like they hear the money. Oh, yeah, if I get money, it'll fix everything. Like, no, there's 5 other factors. If it's arranged and you just put me with the right woman, then no, this stuff got to go from 1 all the way to 10. So it's not something you just grab and do and fix. It's not a Band-Aid. It's not taking your car to the mechanic and they just change one part out. Okay, if you swap out the engine, you got to swap out the exhaust. You got to make sure it's the right one and it was actually designed for this car. You got to test it. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that goes with it.
It is a lot of stuff.
It's kind of fractional. But we do understand that America or wherever, this world has problems between men and women, just like it always has since the beginning of time. But if we don't get people to understand those actual full problems and the ones in the mirror, then arranging something is only like skipping 1 through 10 and just we're gonna just throw 7 out there, throw a man and a woman together and expect something to happen.
So a lot of people, I don't want you guys to get confused. And y'all know on this platform, I never throw out the miracle pill. So many people want just take this one action, everything will be fine. That's not what I'm promoting at all. Right? I'm not promoting that, not even slightly. Scam is right. It takes way more work. You know what I mean? That's just the beginning. We got you linked up with a good person, similar morals, similar family background, similar goals, right? Similar support systems. Now it's up to you, little Billy and little Gene, to make this shit work. Female Gene, y'all. You know what I mean? I keep forgetting where we are. And like Sister Michelle was saying, like, arranged marriages. We're not talking about arranged marriages or forced marriages. We're talking about just encouraging, like, arranged relationships. In other words, we're going to put you in an environment surrounded with people we think are good people. We got Joe Cool checking in. What's good, fam? And Jay Swans was talking about the Jack and Jill. Like, Jack and Jill is specifically designed to bring prominent folks, kids together in hopes that they'll build relationships and become powerful couples. Right. And that's just, I'm pretty sure that every community has that. I bet you that goes on with the Asian community, the Latin community, white community, and so on and so forth in America. Some people will say, hey, you're going to marry this woman. I think that's fucked up. And I think we all agree on this platform that that's absolutely wrong. But I did want to get back to the video. Wait, I did have. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
What Scam was saying, right, about the car analogy. So I think this is kind of where I was going at, is right, getting at the core. So I'll try to use that car analogy in a way. So say your car is burning oil, it's coming out the exhaust, your exhaust is rusty. You change the exhaust. The engine is still fucked. It's still going to be leaking oil. It's just not coming out the exhaust now. And this is sort of where I was going with the idea of the arranged marriage concept, or as you're putting it, not necessarily right demanding, but in terms of setting up potential prospects between families, looking at, virtues, morals, things that should matter, that used to matter, and no longer seem to matter. Therefore, we have people making bad decisions. I think that's fine. Like I said, the problem is it's not going after the core, which, for instance, the way I would view it, most people should not be dating, period, at all. They're in no position to be dating whatsoever. And I don't mean like, oh, he's a nerd, or, he doesn't work out, or some shit like that. I mean, for instance, he doesn't have control over his own emotions, right? That sort of thing. Well, he probably doesn't need to bring a woman into his life that he's now going to have to look after, which inevitably will result in a toxic relationship, right? This sort of thing. So getting more back to the core, why is society like this? How can it actually be fixed? And I see the idea of promoting arranged marriage, like you're saying. I don't see anything wrong with that, encouraging, quote unquote, good parents to make good choices in terms of setting up potential dates for their kids. That's fine. I'm just saying I think that already is happening. And you could argue not that much, and I would say you're right, because most people fucking suck.
I hear you there. I've had people, I've had my folks hit me up. Oh man, I done messed up my there we go. I've had people hit me up when my daughter's younger and they have children. They have boys. One of my homeboys, he has sons around my daughter's age. And he was like, yo, let's keep in touch when our kids get older. We should do pretty much what we're talking about right now. And it just came to him. I was like, oh, damn, that's right. There are people out there looking down the road, trying to find suitable matches for their children. But how many are there? I don't think that's the norm. I think that's rare.
We're from. It's extremely rare.
Yeah.
Right. I think it'd be good just to socialize kids who don't usually get that chance in our society. Like they're sent to school to the other sex, but really they don't involve themselves very much till much later, really. But I think it'd be good to socialize them with the other sex, at least in a maybe not romantic, but not sure, let's call it that, fashion, like how to act properly along the other sex at younger ages, probably be a good idea for society. But I wanted to, let's do a bit of an exploration here. Like, never mind just good people making these arrangements. Like, let's say it's two fucking single moms. They're both kind of ratchet, right? One's got a son, one's got a daughter. But the fact that, but they both know each other, right? There's a bit of community there. There's something to hold each other accountable, and the kids likewise. You don't think that them making an arrangement for their kids to, let's say, interact at that young age, possibly if they were older, start a courting process respectably, that might, as even just that as well, holding them a bit accountable, like that would be a good aspect for society, instead of just the random go out there and fuck whoever thing that we got going on.
I mean, like,
no.
I got a question
no.
for Dio. Oh, go on.
Oh,
Go ahead,
I
Scam.
say no. Oh, okay. I say no because if the single moms are wretched, then the example, I'm gonna say it. You can't tell people do as I say versus do as I do. You got.
I'm not even saying
Okay.
to them to tell them what to do. Just more like the fact that it's not somebody that they don't know. It's not a stranger whose mom is a stranger, so you won't be held accountable. Like if they were to act inappropriately, that there's some accountability there. Like, you know, she's going to tell her mom, or he's going to tell his mom, and then if you know what I mean? Like
I'll put it this way.
there's less room for debauchery kind of thing, or degeneracy.
I'll put it this way.
Even if I agree it might be toxic, you got women telling them to act all certain ways, but like, let's say Dust versus the alternative of them doing that with a stranger, not having that accountability.
I'll put it this way. I know somebody connected to my family had 7 kids, 6 different men. The next door neighbor had a bunch of boys. There was 3 girls, 14, 15, 16, or either 15, 16, 17. But they're all a year apart. Both the moms worked nights and they knew each other. They introduced these 3 boys to these 3 girls. One by one, they all 3 got pregnant. Meaning this environment, this lifestyle, this whatever, without the core principles and whatever, is going to produce what it's designed to produce 80 to 90% of the time.
Yep.
So because this is the lifestyle, there's no core values, and it's just 3 dudes out of control and 3 girls out of control, starting with the parents being out of control, now the grandkids are out of control. Because that's what that factory produces.
Exactly.
Okay, but isn't that
true story?
Isn't that
3
still
girls,
better than them getting
3
pregnant by 3 random guys?
What the fuck? I mean, barely.
same
Right?
thing.
I mean,
The families know each other, do they not? So is that not better
guess.
than
Yeah,
3
that's wonderful.
randoms getting them pregnant? At least
Yeah.
at least you know a bit more about them people.
what does
I
that
don't know,
actually matter,
Well,
though? I mean, I get what you're
doesn't
saying.
Well,
matter.
I mean, it matters because you know that they're not going to ditch the baby and fuck off because you
No,
fucking
you don't know
them.
that.
No,
Incorrect.
they did.
Well,
They
you
did
know them
exactly.
either way. Like, it's not a random. You know where to
Doesn't
come
matter.
knocking.
They could still leave.
Well, you know where to come knocking either way. They could do all sorts of shit. They could off them and do whatever. But
but
the
you wouldn't know
likelihood
where to
is
find
less,
them
right?
anyways. Yeah.
When you're knocking, you
likelihood
know
is
who's
far
going to
less.
answer the door or lose it.
Well, so
But-
here's the
Whatever.
thing. But real quick, I just wanted to acknowledge old Joe is in the building. What's good, fam? Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
So I know Cody, you had a question for me. You remember the question?
No,
Before
I did.
go. So
I had a question.
yeah, based. I'm sorry, I said Cody. Based. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to ask Dio, have you implemented this?
No, but
Why not?
I've been. Oh no, I'm thinking about it. I am thinking about it. Like, okay, I need, because you know I network anyway.
Yeah.
And it goes to my brother Jay Swan's point here. It's like, come on, D. You know what happens all the time. Whenever our sons come to town, somebody's always trying to get us to bring them over to meet their daughters. Yes, Jay Swans, and then my homeboy I was just talking about. You know what I mean? Those are the 2 families that I've ever met that were like trying to do this.
Right.
And
like naturally, right?
Well, the thing with Jay Swan's sons is that they're grown now. So what
Still
he's
trying to
talking
make
about,
arrangements. You know?
well, what he's talking about is his grown sons come home, and then their friends who know them, Jay Swans and his family, they're like, those are good men. Plus, his sons are handsome, they're tall, they're in shape. you know what I mean, come from a great family. All the other families are like, we want our daughters to meet your son.
Right. Naturally.
Right?
That's what I'm saying.
But I don't know if it used to be the norm. I don't think it's the norm anymore. We're talking about that. And then to Cody's point, you know, you got, you know, 2 single moms, both of them are ratchet. One has a son, one has a daughter. I agree with what he's saying. It's like, it's better in that situation that, you know, maybe they, you know, put their kids together, but it's still going to be fucked up. Why? Because the families are fucked up. You know, but it's the best of a worst situation. You know what I mean? Best scenario out of a shit situation. And I can see in that situation, you got 2 hood chicks, one has a son, one has a daughter. They might be encouraging those kids to have unprotected sex. It sounds crazy, but you got people out there who do that shit instead of, you know, hey, be careful, this and that. Like, hey, man, go ahead and smash that. Man, she fine, ain't she? What's up with her mom? You might be able to smash her mom too. That's the kind of ratchetness that's out there in some sectors. You know what I mean? It's sad to say, but getting back to I think that's the kind of on the fringes there, but getting back to the masses, if you had, let's say you had a non-ratchet single mom, 2 non-ratchet single moms, 2, they just hardworking or whatever. They're just out there trying to get it. Maybe they're feminists or whatever. One has a son, one has a daughter. I think those 2 women are going to be saying, yeah, let's try to get our kids together because it'll help our families in the long run.
Right. And I tried to give an extreme example, and it's still I still would say that my point is valid, that it would be better, that it's an improvement. And you got to start somewhere, right? So as that gets better, most likely the results are going to be better too. You know what I mean?
Hey, Cody, my story was a true story.
I believe you.
3 out of 3. 3 out of 3.
That's,
one
it's
by
not an
one.
unusual
Under 18.
story.
This was a true story.
It's not hard to believe.
Yeah, and what Jay Swanson's here, like they try to encourage their sons, right? Which is what we're talking about. So to Cody's point, I guess this is going on, but again,
you say yourself a million times, Joe. Fucking Jay Swans is not the norm for the average man. You know,
he's not, and that's why I keep saying him and his family, they're not the norm. And my guy I was talking about earlier, that's it. I can name 2. There was like, yo, you know, we should, you know, let's stay in touch for our kids' sake because we're good people and all the rest of it. So, but yeah, Jay Swans, I have to tell him every time we talk, I have to remind him, like, bro, you ain't the average dude, right? You're not. So cool you are. My brother Rook is in the building. What's good, Rook? Last time I talked to Rook, he was on his way to Greece or some shit. Looks like he might be back. This is a good conversation. I appreciate y'all coming up. I think that, like, to answer your question, Base, yes. I'm looking at that now, especially now. You know, my daughter's at an age where, you know, she's in high school now. It's last 4 years. I'm definitely going to attempt to put her in the environment where they have good kids. Now, you know, there's always downsides to everything. You think you got a good kid, you know, oh, hey, come meet my kid, Eddie Haskell. Hello, Mr. Saint. And he's like the perfect dude, only to find out that he's a, you know what I mean, a little heathen. And you catch him like little bullshit ass dude, and you got to deal with him. But again, I'm not offering up the answer in one concise pill, like, oh, just do this and this is gonna fix all your problems. I'm not doing that. I got a lot of things I got to teach my daughter, right? And I would assume that they have a lot of things they have to teach their sons. But the thing is, we have shared values and morals, so hopefully we're teaching our kids the same thing. And I think it might be a good thing. And there's so many Americans having trouble with this shit, bro. So many. Like, so many.
Yeah, no, I think you bring up good points, and I don't have any issue, you know, as we've delved into it and got to what you're getting at, you know, I mean, in detail. Yeah, sure.
Oh, shit, stop the presses. Base just agreed? Holy fuck, I'm about to go play the lotto. Yeah, I think I'm going to win some money today, goddamn.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Say twice a day?
Not that that's you, not that you're a broken clock. I just mean... yeah.
Too late, man. You just be fucking with me. So let's get back to the video. I wanted I want you guys to watch what Scott Galloway is talking about. And again, if you didn't see the beginning of this video when Scott was saying, Professor Scott Galloway was basically telling what his mission is. His mission is to save young boys and young men. His mission is to help those who are seeking help, the invisible 80% out there, as I call them. Those guys who are struggling with making money, with staying in shape, with, you know, with meeting women. So, and he hasn't even got to the good part.
I'm sorry for interrupting you. Why are you getting so much smoke lately over this 80% thing? I keep seeing that pop up.
People don't like that 80-20 term. I guess it was used back in the day for something, and again, I have to always explain why I use 80-20. Scott Galloway says 95-5. Right?
What is it?
Well, it'd probably be even more accurate, really. But like, you got to account for like the some dudes who are a little bit above average, therefore 80-20.
Yes, and I use that, but a lot of people give me shit about that, and one guy had to break it down. I'm like, bro, I wasn't around back then. I don't know what you're talking about, homie. I'm just trying to show to you that there's a big difference between the guys who getting it, which is the minority, and the guys who ain't, which is the vast majority. So that's why whenever I say that shit, that's where it's coming from. I mean, you know how it is, man. Once I discovered base Oracle, man, shit ain't been nothing but smoke over there. Not from him, but just, that's just what goes on over there, bro.
Not from me.
Not from him, huh? Okay.
So let's get back to the video, guys. I just want you guys to have a look at this. Here we go.
Real friends. They can go on Discourse or Reddit and find friends. They don't need a real job. They can trade Dogecoin or day trade on Coinbase or Robinhood. They don't need to go through the humiliation, the effort, the expense, the rejection, the resilience of finding a girlfriend, who, by the way, have become increasingly selective, which in some ways is a good thing. Other ways are bad. They feel shunned in online dating, where there's 2.5 of them for every one woman, and 20% of the women all want the same.
Can I interject?
80% of the women all want the same kind of
Yeah,
fight.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got smoke too, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to mention, for one, he's saying women getting increasingly more selective. Obviously, that's a little bit vague, but just to break into it, I would say women are less selective than fucking ever. If we're looking at their sexual, right, what they're doing here. Now,
I agree, Base, but he's talking about selective for mates.
Yeah, no, I get you.
For sex, and I agree totally.
Yeah.
But
So
it's like
I'm
the
going to get
opposite
into
way
that.
that guys are, right?
Yeah. Well, on that point that you're making, Cody, I agree, and that's the other half of which I'm going to touch on, which is it's not necessarily, I mean, you tell me what you think, panel, but it's not necessarily that women are getting more selective for a mate. It's that they're getting retardedly selective, meaning a lot of things that matter to them are superficials. They're less about character and morals than they've ever been, it would seem.
I think it's rigged what he was saying from the gate. He's telling men, go out here and you can be a top 3% in the income. Going out here trading. 90-some% of people lose in any kind of trading and investments. But then you can't tell them you can get. But then you can't tell them how to get in the top 20% in dealing with women.
The type of crypto guys he's talking about are scammers.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, if you're gonna coach a person to win, teach them the things they need to know how to deal with women to get in the top 20%. But you're gonna tell them that they can make all this money and get in the top 3%, knowing even if they made all that type of money, which they're probably not, they're gonna run out here and get ragdolled by the same women. That's my smoke for it. And you're already pushing a narrative to the weak people who don't know all women are bad, women it is, women it is. If you're in the top 20, you don't have those conversations, or you minimize those conversations because you have better experiences with the actual women, and it is work.
There's the big
That's
difference.
Just my pushback.
The guys at the top, the guys in the top tiers, they're having that conversation. They're smashing those girls. They're like, she ain't shit, but I smashed her. Whereas the guys in the bottom tier, they don't even get to have a conversation with said woman. And I think that what Scott Galloway is talking about, I agree with wholeheartedly. As women become more successful, their quote unquote options for a lifelong partner, they decrease because women generally look at people who make as much as they do or more, generally speaking. Like, they're not trying to, I have yet to come across a woman who says, I am okay taking care of a man for 20 years, 30 years, being a breadwinner for 20 years or 30 years. I have yet to find it.
That's actually rigged. Figure most women aren't making all this type of money. It's a very small group. Most women are in the middle group. So most women who are married are somewhere in the middle. But they take
I'm not talking about the women that are married, though. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying is, the women making so much money that they can't find a man or whatever, it's because they sold their soul to make that money. And those were unmarriable anyway. Then they went and sold their soul to go get money.
Sure. Yeah. More masculine types.
But it's anyway. Right. But they were masculine before they made the money. So they weren't getting the man anyway. But they act like it's so many women and that there's so many men going out here and getting these women making $260,000 a year. It's a very small number. Most
I
men are
think you're
struggling
missing.
with the women making $6 an hour.
Most women
men
are
struggling
struggling
with
as
women
well.
making $6 an hour. The women
So,
they're struggling with broke women.
Scam, we're on the
They're
same
struggling
page.
with money. They're getting ragdolled with money with broke women. Most men.
Scam, you're missing the point. Everything you say I can agree with, but it doesn't change the fact that women, especially those women who are successful, they outprice themselves in the market. All women want those top tier guys, right? The brokest chick to the wealthiest chick, she wants that top 5% dude, right? And they're gonna all take their shot. So what does that mean? That means the dudes at their level and below ain't getting shit. So what Galloway is saying makes complete sense to me. I mean, you've taken it to another realm, and I get it. That's part of the conversation. You can get there, but it doesn't change the fact that most women want the best guy they can get, and it doesn't matter if she's a 10 or a 1. She believes she could get that 5%er. Why? Going back to what Base was saying, because sex is free, sex is loose. Women are just giving it to whoever. Right, and that's one of the many problems. But it doesn't change the fact that women are going after these top tier guys, and anything else is settling to them, which is crazy.
I agree, but I think a lot of that's like a false. I think they're false realities. They're false claims. They're like on paper they want those things quite often, but when presented with them, it tends to be the opposite case, or at least like a lot of that versus in reality. Problem is, like in reality, a lot of the guys that they would still be accepting aren't confident enough,
right,
or man enough to even go approach these women anyway, even though it would have been probably a lot easier for them than they would have imagined.
Right.
But the other part that I heard him say was that it's mostly males on dating apps. I almost find that fucking unbelievable. But maybe I'm fucking wrong on that.
It's mostly males on dating apps, bro.
But Cody, what you said is exactly right. There's multiple things, and he consolidated into one thing. And you can do this if you're talking to unconfident men. Yeah. Me, DL, met in person. We know that we can walk into a room. I know that I have more confidence than 80% of the men and 80% of the women that are in there. They got low self-esteem. So a lot of the stuff that they're pulling on these dudes, they don't really try with me or DL. We see through it, they're just not buying it.
Yeah, I mean, a dude on a dating app stands no chance too, right? Like, unless you just got like some sort of magical camera and you got the right fucking sentencing down.
Not true, Cody.
It's a bunch of bullshit. Well, it doesn't represent the person whatsoever most of the time.
Yeah,
it's like it's very small percentage of guys on the dating apps, which is why I kind of find it funny that there's more guys on there than females. I mean, it's like always women talking about dating apps. But
I'm just saying, like.
The guys who actually succeed on there is a very small amount.
Well, what do you call succeed? I ran a carousel on Tinder, and I'm nobody special.
Frequently getting, well, I guess it depends how low you're willing to put your standards to, but.
I mean, there's some truth to that. I only found, in my opinion, low character women. I mean, I ran a carousel a little bit.
Again, what's
being a dude, but I'm just saying.
Be careful saying you're running on carousels, bro.
He's a Marine, bro. That's how they get down, bro. We don't call them devil dogs for nothing.
And
look, carousel riders.
I would get banned like every month or two. Like, and I know who it was. It'd be women I went out with, and now they're mass reporting. Don't call them back. This sort of thing.
Right.
But I'm just saying, even average dudes. I got to think I was a pretty average dude back then. And I did fine. I mean, probably better than most of what you're describing. But my problem is, are you going to find good women on there?
I don't know. You're probably higher than an average guy. Average dudes are ugly. Men in general are ugly.
I don't think of myself as that. I mean, top 10 or top anything.
You're in the top 20, bro. And the only reason you don't, based on what you just told us, and I believe you. You've had women, you've run rotations, you know how to go out there and get it. To me, those are the guys in the top 20. Remember, it's not a hard number. Those are the minority of guys who know what they're doing with women. When I say top 20, that's what I'm talking about. You know how to get at women. You said no to beautiful women, right? That puts you in, right? True. That's how many dudes in that situation, in that story, when you were in Miami, some
Oh yeah.
badass Latina walks up on
Well,
you, right? You said no to that.
I can't
Here's
believe
an
I
example.
did. That took some
The
fucking
average
discipline.
guy, and this is fucking like decent looking guys too, like friends of mine and shit. When I found out this is how they did their dating app bullshit, they fucking they swipe on everything, man. Everything.
Yep.
Yeah, I was probably close, to be fair. It was probably
you were doing
like
the same
half.
thing.
Well, it was probably like
maybe
half,
you are
to be-
average. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, there you go.
I ain't average. And let me catch up with the chat real quick. I'm not going to be able to read every chat, guys. I'm sorry. We're just having a good conversation. A lot of people here. We got Rose 777 in the building again. What's good? Good to see you. We got brother Glenn in the chat, man. Oh my God. We got Glenn Lawrence, man, presents in the building. I'm going to show every chat, guys. I'm going to show everyone. I'm just not going to be able to read them all. I'm sorry. At this point, if you got a lot to say, you got to jump up here. Brother Viking in the building. What's good, man? But now that going back to what Scott Galloway was saying, I agree wholeheartedly. As women become more successful financially and socially, they're going to want somebody at the top, which is the same as the women who are at the bottom, not successful at all. The women who are overweight, the women who are ugly, they got bad attitudes. They're, you know what I mean? They're more alpha than men. They still want the top. And it's just so unbalanced. And that's what Scott Galloway is talking about. Anything else? And I wanted to jump back in. Oh, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So when you say unbalanced, think about Genghis Khan, right? And this is one example, but talk about unbalanced. What do you think it was there? You had to be top 0.001% of men. Do you see what I'm getting at? There's always been a hierarchy, or however you want to frame that, in the sexual marketplace or marriage or whatever the case, right? Concubines, whatever it is. And from what I understand of history, it's been something like 90% of women have reproduced and 40% of men, which means, about half as many men actually reproduce as women throughout history, not in 2024. So this whole idea of like, oh, well, more than half of dudes are incel. Who cares? They always have been.
That number is going to be fucked in 2024 in the West specifically. Yeah. In India, doesn't count what they're doing in India, bro. That shit's a fucking mess. This is a swamp of mating.
But you see
but I wanted to touch
though.
on what Viking said there. That the bar is that low, and this is why it's easy to be above average these days, because there's so many, and this is in the West specifically. If it were to be like Russia, I doubt it'd be the same thing. But like, so many guys are so effeminized, so weak, so fucking flabby, so out of shape. So like the average height, I think, is like what 5'5" to 5'9", something like that. Like if you're a little bit taller, a little bit smarter, like if you're just you put a little bit of effort in. If you put a little bit of effort in, so you're the top of the average range. So if you put a little bit of effort in, you can be fucking miles above everybody else. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you. I totally agree. And that's actually a point I brought up, I think, on Glenn Lawrence's. Like, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. But how hard is it to get in the top 80% of dudes when you think about it?
It's not. Well, the top 80 is the top 20.
I meant top 20. I misspoke. Yeah.
The other aspect, because there is the other downside, is if you are the more masculine, manly, successful you get, you will be socially punished for that. Because in the West, if you're a man who's successful or masculine, you're obviously hurting somebody to achieve these things. Even your presence can be viewed as detrimental and microaggressive because you're intimidating just being a fucking man.
When in Rome,
but
I mean, depending on the audience,
the price you pay, right?
Yeah, and that's a good price.
It's that social nonsense of all that man hate, which makes it so easily to stand out when you do become a man, because everybody else is so pussified that they don't try to, and they go the opposite way.
Right, and then there's also to base point. Historically, the top tier men have had all the women. I get that, but there was a point in history where this whole monogamous, marriage thing took hold. They did that because all of the dudes at some point, I'm sure, as like what's going on now, began to opt out. Right? Those guys are like, we ain't fighting for the Baron, right? We fuck the Duke. We don't care about the king because we ain't getting none. We ain't getting no Foxy Brown. Ain't none of these chicks banging us. We ain't got no kids. We ain't doing it. So what was the trade-off? Okay, we're going to encourage monogamous relationships. We're going to basically not force, but hey, we're going to make it through the church. that, hey, you guys got to get married. These women got to marry you. Did that stop them from banging the top tier guys? No, that didn't stop them at all.
So put a year on that, DL. Can you just say, I'm not going to hold you to this, but can you say like 1900 or 1800 or 1950? Just put a year on it.
I would say maybe again, don't hold me to this, but I'm not. Just for.
I
would say between the 15th and 16th century, somewhere in there.
Oh, okay. So could we argue? No, that's fine. Could we argue then intuitively the men were much stronger back then?
The leaders were, but you always gonna have we always gonna have weak
the
dudes
men
now.
I know that, but look, I'm just trying to ask, can you see that men were much tougher back then? They weren't fucking pussies of 2024? Yes. Okay, that's all I'm getting at.
I can agree with that.
Well, Oracle, there's a part that doesn't matter. Top 20 in 1826 or 14 or yesterday, top 20 is still top 20.
Oh, no, I agree.
There's people with problem and there's people without a problem. The people who got a problem are going to have a problem no matter what you do from.
Yeah,
sure, I agree.
The men may have deteriorated, but so have the women too, bro. We've all fucking got
the women are a reflection. The women have followed. That's my point. The women have followed the men's deterioration.
It doesn't matter. Either way, we've all fucking gone downhill.
Right, but all four of us on the panel, I'll say this, man. All four of us, I can tell by how we all talk that we're in the top 20. And over our lives, we've had women like us genuinely for who we are, love, or the woman crying on the phone because they can't. That means you're in the top 20. A woman of value, a woman of some kind of decency, crying upset because they can't be with you, can't do whatever with you. And you can go and get another woman. You don't have to be all the way to married and need the perfect woman. That's top 5, top 2%. But all four of us still are different people, different philosophies, different goals, different everything. So when they classify women and talk about the women who are good or women who are bad, understand that they're good and bad women who do different things, want different things. Yeah. So when they just say the women are making money in the masculine, no, there's some of them who are feminine foul. Some of them are broker foul. Some of them are actually okay and he's got trauma and just don't know what to do. Like it's so much extra to it. So when they slap the labels, understand that the weak people who are mad, the bottom 80, they'll grab anything negative because they're already so negative anyway. And just run with that, grab a microphone and start slobbering. Women, blah, 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 the women.
I think that's the difference between. I think that's the difference between guys, and I don't even like using this, like the whole, because I don't like referring to this quote unquote space as red pill. Because my vision of red pill is that's just reality, period. That's what it is. Like it's just a mindset of not absorbing propaganda anymore and critically fucking thinking.
I used to think that. Now it's been bastardized, but I agree.
It's so fucking dirtified by all these cocksuckers. But the thing is, like,
that's where I come from.
Man.
Dust panels.
Right. It's and the difference between the guys who view it like I do versus the ones who view it, I think, in the opposite way. And I'm polarizing here, but it's the guys who take in the information and accept it because they're happy that it's true and can use that to their advantage and adapt around it, versus the guys that will take that and then just fucking whine about it for the rest of their life and use that as an excuse to not do fuck all.
Agreed.
Right. To quit. It's an excuse to quit. Real quick though, this is a great conversation. I hate to break it up, but we're gonna get right back into it. I just wanted to highlight old Joe. Right? He's like, I'm in my second try. I got a 9-month-old baby. Her oldest sister is 22.
Holy shit. Congrats, Joe, you dirty fucker.
You dirty bastard, you, man. Hey, man, shout out to you. Oh, Joe. Damn. But the thing is, you know, women are the keepers of sex, right? They're the keepers of the Foxy Brown. And to Base's point, I think Base said it earlier, they are just giving it away like wholesale, bro. Like, goddamn. Right? It is crazy. You know, I know Base loves to like pick on, you know, Myron and Fresh, especially Fresh, his latest thing. The fact is he smashed a loose woman. There's so many loose women out there.
Hooker.
And yeah, you don't get any looser than that.
He
right?
says.
So, but the thing is, because someone, I think Jay Swans was saying it. Here it is. Jay Swans was saying it. Since women are raising the bar, why don't we teach our young men to raise the bar even higher? I would
for
argue
themselves.
I love that. That's great. Except society, the media is pushing the opposite of that. They're telling you to fucking lower the shit out of that into the dirt and to start digging.
Yes, bro. But listen, if they raise the bar for themselves, including the self-respect reflection, they don't fuck with those women.
I agree. Like, tell your kids, fucking, you know, not to tolerate anything. I would say that's improper. You know what I mean?
To my overarching point, the better men become, the better the reflection, i.e., women become, and the worse men have become, the weaker, etc. We result with what we have now.
Yeah, and Rook has a good point. Rook has a real good point here. Like he's like, the thing is, the top 20 back in the day didn't care or realize it. The fact that dudes be concerned about percentages today shows how pussyfied men have gotten these days, and I think that's the point trying to be made here.
I mean, you don't even hear about these fucking terms till you hit YouTube, bro. So yeah, you don't do. You have to fucking learn what all these people are talking about when you first.
That's what I've been doing. I'm like, what the hell is this? And Rook, Jay Swans, they only know about this shit because of me. I got a lot of other friends. They're like, bro, that shit's crazy as fuck. Who are these dudes? I'm like, they're lost, bro. And these are the guys that Scott Galloway is talking about. But and Jay Swan's like, yeah, he's like, you, bro, you hit it right on the head, Rook. And go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, I have a maybe interesting anecdote if you're
go ahead.
Want to hear. So a few years ago, I had a family member kind of hit me up. We were hanging out. And at the time, he's like 28, 29, something like that. Single, no kids, just got out of military, right? And essentially, he's telling me how he wants to find, a woman, a wife, eventually, who is, as he described, a 9 out of 10. I mean, this is his words, right? And the perception is like she's a model, right? She's on that level, right? Great wife, submissive, all these buzz red pill terms, whatever. And that's what he wants. And I'm like, okay, so you're not in shape. You don't make money. You don't have anything going on. Your social skills are trash. And I just start going down the list. And he was pissed as fuck at me. He was like, fuck you, bro. Like this type of shit. And I was like, look, I'm just telling you the truth. You asked me, and now I'm telling you the truth. You can potentially do what you want to do, but it also sounds like you want to do these things only to get the girl. And that is essentially simp behavior. You should be finding your purpose. And based on that, you will naturally get what you seem to want right now. Your targeted scope is on need to get a beautiful wife, and you don't deserve it. So, anyways, I was just going to say this slap in the face to him seemed to piss him off real good, and I just meant it in a honest, tough love, whatever you want to put that as way.
Yeah, just keeping it real. To me, that's the red pill. I'm with Cody on that, and Cody knows my take on the red pill. Just like in a movie. You take the red pill, you get to see the code for what it really is and not all the bullshit. Don't fall for the bullshit. Right? Quit focusing on Donald Trump getting convicted and women being hypergamous, and focus on, why gas is so expensive. Why is it you need $100 to go to McDonald's? Focus on that shit. Focus on why the dollar is getting weaker. Right?
It should be $1,000 to go to McDonald's. It should be illegal to go to McDonald's.
There you go. But why is it that poisonous food is cheap food is now over $100? And some people are like looking at McDonald's as a luxury now, which is insane. That to me, that's what red pill is, man. It's not even food. It's faking. But the point is,
it's real meat. Trust me. Just look up how many times they found fucking human cadaver meat in there. It's real meat.
That's what red pill should be about. To be honest,
that's what it's supposed to be about, dude.
The betterment of people from the bottom to the top.
Fucking truth, reality, so we can all wake up and build from a fucking stable structure.
Yep.
Yeah, Oracle, I was going to say something about the cousin or the person you were talking to.
Yep.
The thing I try to have understanding for is this. They lied to men and told them that when you're 18, 19, 20, you got to work. And then when you're 21 and you graduate from college, they just hand you a diploma. As soon as you walk out from graduation, all these women are standing outside waiting to be your wife. You get a picket fence, house, 2 kids, and a dog. They lied to women and told them, I know how you feel. But that man, chivalrous Sam, is coming and he's going to rub your shoulders down and give you flowers and take you to the Bahamas. These people were lied to. Then they're going through 1, 2, 3 traumas where they found out it was a lie the hard way. And they're bleeding to death.
Yeah.
But some of them can keep clicking on these links and keep going all the way back to the very base lie for how the average man, flab nasty, pig buzzard, don't know how to talk to nobody, but he just has a degree or has a job working at somewhere, is supposed to get this woman. Or this woman, feminist as ever, ain't smiled in 2 years. Flab nasty is supposed to get this man who doesn't exist. But they keep getting fed the same thing.
Yeah,
It's
But the
propaganda.
lie is still out there.
Yeah, tell me
It's
what I
the
want to hear.
carrot at the end of the stick. Sorry, go ahead.
It is though. You're right. It's the carrot. Tell me what I want to hear. Tell me I didn't do wrong. That's the one of the things with the Man on Swamp, the Red Pill. Their message that I agree with is become the best version of yourself. Not for the women, not so you can get women. You want to be the best person you can be for you, so you can take care of you and yours. If you decide to have a family, you can do that. If you do these things, women will come. Going back to that point that Galloway was making, women want the top 20 guys. They want men who exhibit these traits, whether they are billionaires or not. People like, well, they all want millionaires. Not necessarily true. They want a guy that they believe can take care of them, that can protect them, and that has a future. They want to make sure that if they have this guy's babies, that those babies are going to, be well taken care of and be able to go to college, do all those things. That's what they really want. Are there women out there who want the millionaires, the billionaires? Yeah. But them, I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about
Most
the
of them don't
woman.
even know those men, no way. Yeah.
Exactly. And they never will.
But like Cody, me and Cody, nobody can grab a microphone in any spaces and pull up some McCheeseburgers and tell us that it's going to make us gain all this muscle and organic. We know because we're doing the work. We're in the gym. But to some people who don't know nothing, you can tell them anything and they might go believe it. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, hey, brother Rook, I'd love to get Rook's perspective on this. My phone is downstairs, bro. The link is pinned to the top of the description, bro. And I can put it in here again. I think I could just drop it in here.
Yeah,
shit.
I'm on my phone. I can't post it.
I'll put it in there. So, brother Rook, the link is I'm gonna drop it in here again for Rook. There's the link right there, bro. You can just click that or copy that and paste it to your computer or however you want to do it, man. I would love to get your take on this. Bro, I'm telling you, man, y'all gonna love Rook. That's my guy. That is my dude, bro. That guy got me together in LA. I done got skinny and fat since I lost all my gains, but it was Rook. Rook got me there, bro. We'll talk about it when he jumps up here. And Rook, if you can't get it, go ahead, bro.
No, I was gonna say this, and then I'm a drop. I'll be watching. When it comes to talking to some of these people, we gotta. If you're trying to motivate them to get out of the delusions that they're in, we gotta meet them where they at and understand what it is that they're thinking and what they truly believe before beating them over the head. Because it's overwhelming to tell somebody who's been lied to for 23 years, "Hey, bro, that's a lie." It's overwhelming and it might not go in. You got to understand where they came from.
That's what's up.
That's all. Yeah, that's all I got. Shout out to all y'all. Stay in the top 20. Dustin
hey,
Cruz.
Scam, where can people find you? And I appreciate your final thoughts. Where can people find you, bro?
Scam Likely Show. I'm on my phone, so I can't put it in the chat. But I'll be doing some content. It's anti-dust. No dust panels. No yelling about men's and women's. It's the slow, boring stuff about just being better people.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate you coming up, man.
All right, appreciate you.
And here he is, you know what I mean? My brother from another mother, man.
What's
Rook
up?
is in the building. What's up? That's a Don DeMarco right there.
Don DeMarco.
Hey, Rook, I want to go ahead and give you a time right now to talk about everything you saw right here, because I know your take is different than most.
I guess so. I mean, I think me and Jay Swan's on the same page. I'm not on social media except for this YouTube, but you just take care of yourself, and somehow everything else comes to you. It's like I'm not worried about what's going on with percentages of this or that and the other, or what chicks are after, or what they're looking for. I just don't give a shit. You just be yourself and you invest in yourself. If you have kids, you invest in your children, which is investing in yourself, and things come to you. And that's the thing, is if you there was a show you had a couple weeks ago or so. I didn't catch all of it because I'm pretty busy right now. I'm in DC, but you had like a show where you're talking about like you got to present yourself a certain way and you got to do this, you got to do that. I mean, really, that's where the mistakes are being made. You see, once you start pretending to be someone you're not, that's when you attract the people that you are not going to click with. There's going to be problems. You just got to be who you are, come what may. And if that means the chick you find the most, like the most attractive or whatnot, like, right, like you see a chick that's like, oh man, she's so hot. If you guys don't click on the level where you are, like you are who you are, it's not going to work out. So why even bother? Why even go there? Who gives a shit? If you are who you are and you act as yourself, whether you have money, you don't have money, whether you're built or you're not built, whatever, you will attract the people that are right for you. And you, like Jay Swan said it earlier. He's I don't remember. I'm just paraphrasing, but he had put a text on there or whatever you call it, the chat thing, and he had said something along the lines of like the circles my family, like we surround ourselves with. I mean, that's key. You want to surround yourself with quality people. You don't want to pretend you're someone you're not, and just so you can be in a circle you don't belong in, because that circle's probably beneath you. You see what I'm saying? You just be genuine. You be who you are. Like it's always worked for me. I mean, I know I'm 6'4", I'm 250, I'm big, I got money, I got all this and that, but nobody knows what I got because I don't present myself that way. In fact, you've been out with me. I don't say shit about who I am, what I got, where I've been, nothing. I let them do all the talking. And then, and if I feel like there's conversation to be had, then I might engage myself in the conversation. But I'll judge someone first before I engage and get to that level. And I think all the guys that are out there, if there's anyone watching this right now, if you're a younger dude, because I'm 50 years old, like a younger dude that's watching this, just focus on yourself. Don't worry about anything else but yourself until you have a family. Then you worry about your family, of course. But until you get to that point, you just focus on building you. You do that through traveling, you do that through education, and not necessarily like education, like going to university. I mean, like you find something interesting, you learn all you can about it on your own. It's called autodidactism. And you build yourself up. You build up your mind, you build up your body, you build up who you are to the point where everything about you, you think of it as yourself as a temple. It's sacred to you. And that's just going to attract the right people, the right women, the right dudes as friends, whatever. And then you just, and life just comes a whole lot easier than trying to worry about what you need to follow. Like, I need to worry about today, girls, they only want the top 20% or all this bullshit. Don't worry about that, because the second you get into that, that's like you fall into a trap. And you don't need to do that. And DL, my success rate. This is very high and it's top tier. And I don't give a shit how I dress. I went, what was Trocaderos?
Yeah.
I went with flip-flops and shorts on. I didn't give a shit. And,
Yeah.
and you know the stories.
And yeah,
So
Rook was at the door.
Just be comfortable with who you are. Focus on yourself. I'm talking to the guys out there. Just focus on yourself and build yourself up to be everything you want to be. Who gives a shit what you need to be for everyone else? Because everything else falls into place. Trust me, I've been on this earth for fucking 5 decades.
Now let me ask you this. Hey, Rook, let me play devil's advocate, because I know some dude is out there now going to be watching this shit like, well, it's easy for him to say because he's fucking 6'5", he's ripped the fuck up, he has money, right?
You know why I'm ripped up? Because I work out, and I do that because I enjoy it. But I don't do it because I give a shit. Like, you don't see me on there with like posing pictures on there and then like with all the lighting and shit. And then that's my social media. I don't even have social media because I'm very analog, I'm old school. I work out because it makes me feel good. I don't give a shit like the results. And if somebody says like, well, you know, you're 6'4", you're 250, you do this, that, and the other, that's a cop out, because I know dudes that are 5'7" and half my weight, and they're doing great. And you know why they're doing good is because they focus on themselves, not to the point of being narcissistic. It's just they know that they're the most important person in their life until you have a family. As Jay Swans, I'm sure would agree with that. But up until that point, you should be number one, other than maybe your mom or whatever. You know what I mean? And that is what is going to bring you the positive energy. That's what's going to bring you all the stuff that you don't want to get. You never want to get into a position where you need to pretend to be someone you're not, because the second you start doing that, you're going to get yourself into trouble 100% of the time. And I speak from experience because I did that in my 20s. It never works, not in the long term. I mean, if you're just trying to smash, okay, yeah, it might work in the short term, but that shit gets old, after a while. It gets old. And so really all dudes need to do is just focus. If you don't have a family yet, just focus on yourself. You want to work out, get big, get, all that stuff, great. You want to read books, fiction, nonfiction, whatever it is, just build your mind, build your spirit. If you're into spirituality or religion, whatever it is, build your body, do all those things. But do it because you're not trying to impress anyone. Do it because you want to impress yourself. And I guarantee you, everything else will fall into place. You'll start pulling people that you think like were out of your league or whatever. And you'll find yourself in situations where you just think like, I'm actually outside their league. I'm above that. It's not even arrogance. It's not like you're putting it in their face about that. You just feel so confident. And real confidence is when you walk, like you see me in like Trocaderos with that one Spaniard woman. Remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that I didn't give a shit. I just went in there and I just was just, show me what you got. Because I know what I got.
She was
talking.
talking.
And it wasn't about like a competition or a game to me. It was just like, you either interest me or you don't.
And she was talking shit about some place. What was it, Spain or something like that?
She was saying stuff like trying to make herself sound smart, and I knew she was wrong on half the points she was making. But where does that come from? That comes from autodidactism, where you just try to learn about everything you can. So really, the whole point of this really is just, it's not about how tall you are, or if you work out, or none of that. It's just the confidence comes when you just focus on yourself and you just feel so good about yourself. Like, I love gardening. I like planting flowers and growing shit in my garden. Those are the things I like. Bird watching. I'm in DC. Today I went on a trail and I went hiking for 5 miles this morning. That's the stuff that makes me feel good. And if I feel good, it just exudes itself. It comes out. Like, I don't go to bars wearing this shit. If I went out to have a drink, I dress up and feel good and confident, and I just go in there and I'm there to have a drink. And if I meet somebody while I'm there, if the conversation is good, then maybe it'll lead somewhere. If the conversation's not good, I don't give a shit.
That's what's up. And just so y'all know,
you have to connect, but you can only connect with the right person if you know who you are. You see what I'm saying? And I'm speaking from experience.
But look at this though, for y'all who say, "Oh, he likes bird watching and fucking gardening." Yeah, but this is the guy I go to when I got a problem with my 6.5 Creedmoor. If I got a problem with my M14, this is one of the motherfuckers I go see.
I do.
Yep.
If I
I feel that because I'm an outdoorsman too. I grew up. My dad was teaching me how to hunt, track, and fish and all that stuff by the time I was like age 4.
You know what? And I think that's good for guys to do. I hunt. I do all that stuff. I think that's good. I think it's good.
And the thing is now, even when I'm not hunting, when I go out hiking, I got my camera with me and I do the bird watching. I take pictures of the birds, right?
Absolutely.
My mom has sets up bird feeders at her place and I take pictures.
Is that's what you enjoy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get outside and actually see nature. It doesn't mean I hunt and fish if I need food, right? If I don't need food, I go out and I just enjoy it. And it's great reset for the mind.
And you're fulfilled.
Mm-hmm. But DL
fulfillment when you go out anywhere you go, once you feel fulfilled, There's nothing. You don't need to hide anything. You don't need to pretend to be someone you're not.
Well, hold on. She likes me for my game, right? She likes my game, bro. Who's that? Who's
so
that?
Rook, this is based Oracle, and you know, Base is gonna. It sounds like he's about to get into the RP talking points, from the other side of it, right? So again, like I was playing Devil's Advocate earlier, Base is gonna play his own version of Devil's Advocate. So go ahead, Base.
Yes, i.e., I will tell the truth. So when it comes to a lot of these RPers, they're talking about something very different than you, Rook. They're talking about.
I don't know what RP is.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Red pill shit. Yeah. Rook wouldn't be in this world, guys, if it weren't for me right now. Just so y'all know, Rook would not be here if it weren't for me. And he's one of my brothers supporting me. But so you're gonna have to, you know, he's not gonna know all the terms.
That's fine. I'll make it simple. I'm just saying. One of the tropes was, oh, she likes my game, bruh. Oh, the women like my game. And that's really the opposite of what you're talking about. What you're talking about is frame, being who you are, standing on your own, whatever it is. But I did want to just point one thing out, because I agreed with a lot of what you said, Rook. The one thing, when you said, you know, like, to the dudes, to the young men, don't worry. Well, what do people do when you say don't worry? They're going to worry, right? Meaning, all that I'm getting at is, for instance, and I think this is where you were going. I don't think these were your exact words, but trust the process. If you do the right things for you, these other ancillaries, women, money, etc., they will work themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
So trust in the process. Yeah,
you don't agree with that? Is what I'm asking?
No, I do. I'm saying I'm agreeing with that. I'm just
so yeah, because my see, if you trust the process, you also have to accept at the same time that things aren't going to come right away. See, right. Dom knows, like DL knows that my whole process is very long term.
Yeah, it's going to take longer than you think. That's a lot of guys get into that.
But once you have long term, it's kind of like laddering CDs. If you ladder a CD, let's say you open a 6-month CD, and then 3 months into that one, you open another 6-month CD. And then while the next one's maturing, you reopen another. That's laddering your CDs. It takes a while for that process to start, you know, but once that process starts, it's like an unending income. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, momentum.
Kind of along those lines. I hate to put it in terms of financials, but I think maybe a lot of people might connect with that. I don't know. But that's kind of how I see it. But really, you know, it's most important to just focus on yourself and never, ever, ever try to be someone you're not. If you don't like dressing a certain way, or you don't like to, it's really superficial to me, but you know, maybe it rings a bell with folks these days. But like, if you don't like wearing a certain cologne or whatever it is, or you know, you don't like going to a certain club or whatever it is, don't go. You know, things may not happen overnight. You may not get what you want to get Friday night, but in the long term, once things start going, they start going. It's like compound interest. You see what I'm saying?
And guys, just so you know, we're right around 1,900 subscribers. Once we hit 2,000 subscribers, I am going to start a Patreon, and in that Patreon, we're going to bring Brother Rook up every now and then, and we're going to tell his stories that we can't stay on YouTube.
I can't tell a lot of people half my stories.
A lot of people want to know what zip means. We might tell you what zip means.
Yeah, boy, you know that one's for sure. That one's definitely not legal.
But yeah, Rook, you're right on point with that, because it's a concept that in the quote red pill space, that the guys that are really about it, they teach, which is enlightened self-interest. I cannot help others as well as I can is when I help myself first. Right. And you're always you're not competing with other. You're like you'll see what other men are up to. Right. You know what they're doing. The same thing with the women, but you're competing with yourself every day. I'm trying to do better than I did yesterday in some aspect, even if it's something small, because I know that change doesn't happen boom instantly. If I want to make changes, I have to ratchet it up and make sure that I stick with it and don't fall down.
Yeah, no, I'm listening. I'm fucking all over the place here, but I agree with you 100%. Exactly. 100% agree with
Yeah,
you.
like Based Oracle said, right? A lot of these guys, you know, the pool has been diluted, the well has been poisoned. A bunch of the low value guys that don't want to do all that stuff, that are looking for cheat codes and shortcuts, they come in like, oh, how can I use my game to overcome my deficiencies? It's like, well, if you overcome your deficiencies,
right.
you'll need to use less game, because game does work for getting pussy. But the thing is that can you maintain a real relationship?
And then there's a point you're going to reach when you get to a certain age. There's going to be a point where you're like, kind of like, okay, I'm over with like getting laid by different chicks. This and that. Maybe not everyone. I mean, not with me. But
hey, DL, I got a dip, by the way. I don't mean to interrupt.
You
but
may reach a point where you want to start a family. Well, you can't do that until you know who you are. And then you are comfortable with who you are so that you attract the right wife, you know, the right woman for you. Now, marriage is not for everyone. I'm 50 years old, never been married, have no kids. So it's not right for me. But for those of you out there that are watching this now, where you want to, that's something that is in your life plan, you know, you can't go wrong with following the same the same idea that I'm saying here is just focus on yourself. Build up who you are as a human, like just as a human being, not even as a man, you know, like whatever makes you feel fulfilled, that's what you should pursue. And then try things that you may not think you maybe I don't like gardening, or maybe I don't like reading you know, Anna Karenina or some other, you know, some novel or whatnot. Give it a shot. You never know. But what it does is that it makes you so full of the world, you know, where somebody who's not on your level comes to you, whether they look like a 10 or not, it ain't going to matter because they're going to be below you. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, Rook, I want to ask you this real quick, because they're going to be people watching this and like, man, this guy's perfect. They might like what you're saying. They might want to. That's why I want to say this right now. They might put you on a pedestal. I was going to ask if you cool with it. Could you share some of your losses? You know, like you're saying you trusted the process, but at what were there times when the process was fucked up and you wanted to quit?
Yeah, of course. I have a lot of L's in my life. Let me try to give one that's not too X-rated. Yeah, there was a time, you know what? There was a time when I was really interested in someone who had kids. Okay, now this ain't a knock towards any women who are like single moms. Their exes kicked them to the curb, and now they got a couple kids or whatnot. And I thought, you know what? I'm a good uncle. I got nieces and nephews. I'm a real good uncle, this, that, and the other. But what was interesting for me is that I knew who I was, and I wasn't going to change for nothing. And I knew that I'm good with kids. You know, I find it really important to, you know, if there's a relationship with a woman and she has kids, I will put the kids before the woman. That's just me. So I focused a lot on the kids, on like trying to educate them on just anything. Like we would go on hikes and I would be like, hey, you know, this is a blackberry bush here, you know, and this is this and this is that kind of bird. And this, you know, just simple stuff like that. Cause I know how kids, you know, I was a kid. We were all kids. It's important to be able to connect with who we were when we were kids, right? And so I try to think in terms of when I was a kid, what would I find interesting? And that's how I talked to kids, you know, her two daughters. The problem is that, and my L was that I focused so much on her kids, I was neglecting her. You see what I'm saying? And what ended up happening was that she was still seeing her ex-husband on the side. And long story short, because I was so focused on the kids and not focused on her, the whole thing kind of fell apart. And I learned then that you have to find, if you're going to go into a relationship with a woman who has kids, which I'm not going to give any advice on because every man is different, but you need to find a balance. You know what I'm saying? So that was a big L. And what it taught me was that, is this saying too much? But I think everyone's a little bit of a narcissist. And so you need to kind of feed into that a little bit, even if it goes against what you think is right. For me, kids always would come first. Yeah, I would say that was probably one of my big L's. I didn't enjoy it too much, the whole situation. I was younger back then. I have a lot of L's though. That's just one of them. There's a whole lot of L's, but I'll tell you what, if I were to try to summarize all of the losses into a single phrase, man, I would say it would probably come down to where I was over sacrificing myself.
Mm.
Yep,
That's
That's
all.
what's
That's
up.
it.
and that's
I
that's where
see.
that's where that enlightened self-interest comes in, right? Because if you're enlightenedly self-interest, you're not going to be over investing in things that are going to disbenefit you in the long run.
Right.
That's what's
Exactly.
up. I see brother Cody shaking his head a lot. Cody, what's your take on all this? You're muted.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, you muted. Yeah, it's on your end. It's muted on your end.
How about that?
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, I hear you
Oh,
now.
for fuck's sakes. Okay. So basically, for being too nice a guy, right, Ruck? To sum it
I
all
don't
up,
know if it's too nice a guy.
the L's,
It's putting kids first.
We talking about all the L's. Like you were talking about
all your L's, being too nice a guy. I mean,
all
putting
the
the
other
kids
ones.
first
Yeah, all
is
my
being a
L's
very
come
nice
from
nice
me
guy,
putting-
you know?
All my L's come from me putting kids first.
They were
Really?
all about putting kids. Well, I would still classify that as being too nice a guy. Women aren't interested in if you're
That's
too
pretty
nice a guy.
general. That's a
They
pretty
want that
general classification. to put
attention.
it. Don't you
Yeah,
agree?
being nice
That's
to
a little
kids.
general to put that into being too nice a guy to kids.
Well, I would say being attentive to kids, yeah, is being a nice guy. I don't know how that's
Well, I say there's
wrongly
a
classified.
Tell me your point. Tell me your point so I can shoot it down after.
Okay. The only thing I don't like is because, like I said, I agreed with everything you were saying. I don't know what you're upset about, but is when you try to tell guys
Not
who say
upset. I'm
don't
just,
have a lot of value in themselves to just be themselves already. Like, and I agree that you shouldn't be somebody else or try to change necessarily what you're interested in unless you're expanding your horizons. I think that that's great. But I think the idea of if you want to improve your company and your station in life, work on constantly improving yourself in every way you can, right? If that's what you desire.
Yeah, well, that's where that concept of enlightened self-interest
what
comes
you were
in.
just saying. Just recap that for me.
Say again.
Just recap your point.
That we should encourage guys, we shouldn't. I don't like it when they say guys that, because a lot of guys throw this general just be yourself to brush it off when there are guys like really seeking advice for how to improve where they're at, right? So I think it's a bit better to say that you need to improve yourself, expand your horizons. If you want to improve the people you keep with company and where you're at in life, you need to improve yourself so that you're worthy and valuable of getting to those places.
Right. Well, that's what I've been saying. But for me, children always come first for me. And that's usually been my downfalls because I put them before the person that I'm supposed to be with. And that's something that's just going to be how it is because that's never going to change. And that's the point here is that I'm not going to change that about myself. And so maybe I should be avoiding situations where I'm with someone who has kids because I already know I'm going to put the kids first before her. And that maybe is that my L? That's my downfall. Okay. Then I know that that's a situation I should avoid. But that's one of my qualities that I feel is a quality. I feel like putting kids first is one of my big wins, my big W's. And if it doesn't work out in a relationship, then that's how it's going to be. I'm not going to change that about myself. You see what I'm saying?
Would that fall
that's
into
going to be an L? Then that's an L.
So would that be in the realm of self-assessment? Because I know I'll look at a lot of shit and I'm like, damn, I know I can change this, change that, but that I'm not going to change no matter what.
Well, I've done a lot of self-assessment. Oh, for sure. And I have many flaws, many flaws. Some
Because I've
flaws
seen a
that
lot of
I may
people.
never be able to fucking fix. I try to, that's important. That's always part of the journey. I mean, we all have flaws. Every one of us here can agree we have flaws. And we may or may not agree on whether or not we can fix all those flaws. And sometimes I kind of ask the question is like, do you really want to fix a flaw that's defined as a flaw by a book or whatnot? Is it really a flaw? Or is it maybe just something that makes you unique? You see
Yeah,
what I'm
it's
saying?
know
It's like,
thyself. So your situation was a little bit
yeah,
ironic because a lot of the issues that guys have with single moms, right, is that the mom is going to be prioritizing, you know, herself over and her kids over
yeah,
you, and you're
that
going to
is
be taking the
ironic.
back
Yeah,
seat. But
yeah.
you switched it up a little bit where you're prioritizing the kids, right? And yeah, for
Mhm.
another man's kids, another woman's, relationship, that she got out of that, that's not going to work well for most guys. So I find that, kind of ironically amusing a little bit that you found the same problems, even though you went at it from a completely, opposed view on it, where a lot of guys are just like trying not to get invested in the kids, right?
What's ironic about it?
Hmm?
What's ironic about that?
Well, I'm saying that because most guys are in the space are taught, like, well, if you're going to be dealing with single mom, don't get overly invested in the kids because it's going to end up ruining the relationship. She's going to get mad at you for trying to be a
Oh,
disciplinarian
well,
or any of that stuff and enforce rules.
Don asked me to tell him a story about an L, so I told him
Yeah.
one. I mean,
No, and
that
that's a
was
good
when I
one.
was younger.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And I'm
Well,
saying,
I
and
mean,
what
if
you
you want an L,
realized,
that's the L. There you go. I mean, it's
but
not me
once
now.
again, what I'm analyzing it, and I'm saying that what did you learn? You learned know thyself, and I'm going to be a good dad, but maybe I can't be a good dad to some other person's kids, right?
Oh, well,
So
that's
you end up
exactly
coming
what
to the
I'm
same
saying.
conclusion. You came to the same conclusion that we usually try to teach guys, but you came to the same conclusion on a different path. It was along the same line, but it was a slightly different path.
Conclusion is what? Red pill or something?
Yeah, because
Well,
they're talking
not to get
about
over invested in another person's kids.
that's one of the
Oh,
talking
okay.
points.
Is
That's
that
one of the
is
talking
that
points
the
over
big
there.
thing with the trend right now with the red pill or whatever?
They have a lot of talking
No, but
points
it's
over there.
relevant to what you were talking about. And a lot of times
Well, I
why they
mean,
teach not to do that
I
is
don't know all the
because
stories
if
of
the relationship does end, it's going to hurt just about as bad or more
All
when
right,
your
well,
relationship with the
good.
kids go away
I'm giving
as
you
it
real
would
world.
with the girl.
I'm giving you real world outside the box
Yes.
information that you can take and put to your whatever your whatever color pills you guys got coming on and shit.
Yeah,
But
well,
the thing
that's the
is
point.
that I'm just telling you the truth of an L that I had. And if it feeds into your narrative, then fine. That doesn't bother me at all.
Well, it confirms
I'm giving you
some of what we say.
real world stuff, which I think should be meaningful for the folks that are watching this right now, because I'm not in these circles. I don't have social media except for this YouTube channel, which is a random ass channel that I have. And when I sign on, I only sign on to see what DL's up to.
And I
Yeah,
appreciate
and that's
that.
what I was confirming
So
is that you
might
came
be
to the
good
same solutions.
for what you guys are trying to preach, right?
Yeah, you're
Some of
grounded
those
in
guys, yeah.
reality. You're
Yeah.
grounded in reality. Like the real guys that that get it, and I use real guys, like
Right.
loosely.
So what I'm telling
come to the
what
similar
the story I
conclusions.
just told supports whatever you've been preaching, basically, right?
It verifies,
Is that
yeah.
what I'm getting at?
Yeah, it's another example of even though you took a slightly different path, you still came to the same logical conclusions about the real world, and you did it how?
Yeah.
By knowing thyself.
And I have no problems with that whatsoever. I mean, I don't know if I'm supporting or against a certain view or whatnot. I'm just giving it as it is. But it sounds like my story seems to be fitting something that you all are kind of teaching, right?
Well, it's a lesson. It's a lesson that a lot of guys learn, right?
Okay, so
like I said,
right, exactly. So that's a lesson that I learned when I was younger, and it from my experience, it seems to be true. You cannot be more of a father to someone else's kids than what was there before. You see what I'm saying? So I avoid those situations now.
Yep.
Is that the red pill thing?
That's one of the
or
tenets.
whatever?
They'll say that you should. They'll encourage people to stay away from women like single moms for relationships. They don't say like, if you're dealing with a single mom, y'all just smashing, great, you know, but don't get involved in a relationship with the children or child.
Oh yeah. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. That's why I was saying it's kind of, it was slightly ironic because you took a different path slightly, right? You took a little bit of a detour than most guys will because of your personal commitment to the children. You value children above other things, right? You prioritize them. That makes you a good dad.
Irony,
well, irony is just, you know, opposite for the sake of being opposite, right?
I know
Like,
Well, you would think that being the nicer guy, like I described it before, by being nicer to the kids, would do you good points with the girl, but instead, the lack of attention.
Now
you
you
said
guys
she
are
went back to her ex.
adding too much to it. Kids will come first, not because I'm trying to be the nicer guy. It's because kids come first. It's just a fact.
It's not because you're trying to be the nicer guy, man. We're saying it's because you
I'm
are
not
a
trying to be
nice
a
guy.
nicer guy. It's just
I just said it's not because you're trying to, it's because you are. The fact that you do put the kids first means that you are the nicer guy, right? That's different than a lot of guys would. A lot of guys wouldn't pay the kids any attention at all.
And that's what I was saying about it being ironic.
We can all probably agree on is that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. You took
you made
a
your point. Yeah, you made your point, Viking. So, like, that's the thing with the truth, isn't it? No matter where you are, no matter where you are, you're gonna find that truth. No matter what position you come in, when you're speaking the truth, you're gonna find the truth. And a lot of the red pill stuff.
When you asked for an L, I thought that would be a good one. Apparently, it was.
Yeah, that was a perfect. It was spot on. That was spot on. We got Brother Horny in the building. Wrong button. I ain't set my shit right. Brother Horton in the building was good. So before I let everybody go, because I was gonna do this show for 1 hour. That was my plan, to do 1 hour. And we are 2 hours.
1 hour was Rook on the show, motherfucker.
Well, yeah.
Hey, it gave me a chance to get in here. Thank you.
So I was gonna wrap this up, but I wanted to go around the horn, and you know, I definitely want, before we wrap this up, I want Viking to get in there. And because I know he had a lot to say about the arranged relationship thing. Like, Viking, what's your take on that? And then we'll go to Cody, and then we'll end it up with Rook.
I missed the first part of the conversation, so I missed a lot of the talking points about the arranged relationship stuff. I just pulled up a few minutes before I got on here, so you guys were talking about the other stuff with Rook and whatnot when I pulled up. So you guys just pretty much wrapped up. So I missed some of the context when it comes to arranged relationships. Maybe give me a little bit of a summary. Like, what
probably take us an hour, but well, basically we were saying,
well, like, what is the question, right? So I can give a concise answer.
Is it time now, because people are struggling so much with dating? Is it time now to go back to the arranged relationship thing? We're not talking about arranged marriages, but family getting involved. You know, mom, dad, grandparents, everybody getting involved, and placing their children among other children that they believe will be good matches for them down the road, be it they're 8, 9, and then of course once they become teenagers and young adults, like just encouraging them to be with these people. I was thinking maybe America needs to start doing that as a response to what's going on in today's sexual marketplace.
I will say that people should have certain family members, if they know that they can trust them, to have like a mostly unbiased opinion, actually have your best interest at heart. You know, prioritizing like your well-being, but also trying to set you up to actually be able to build happiness, right? Because happiness isn't the goal, it's a byproduct, right? But if you set yourself up in a situation where you're not going to be able to achieve any sort of contentment at any period of time, you're in a miserable relationship, that's setting you up for failure, right? So that's still not a good thing. So I say there's some nuance there. I believe that like having like family circle like situations, kind of like how social circle game is most people's go-to, right? Family kind of plays into that. Right? It used to be that dads and moms would give their 2 cents in. I was like, yo, this bitch ain't about it, right? Or this guy is a fucking loser, right? And then the child in question would be like, you know what? I trust my mom, I trust my dad. They're giving me good opinions. They haven't steered me wrong so far. Maybe I should look for a better option, right? This person may not be the best for me. And even if like your feelings are in it and you're thinking with the little head and not the big head type shit, right? And this goes for women too. You would actually be able to take that advice and overcome those pitfalls before. So I do believe there is potentially some value in there. In terms of the arranged marriage, no, I don't think that that's a good thing. In terms of having family involved with the decision making, and that's actually trustworthy, because some people come from families where, you know, they're not going to give you good advice. They're going to give you biased advice to keep you, you know, under control and you know, like the mama's boys and shit like that, right? You don't want to be, if you don't want to fall into that category, but this comes back to enlightened self-interest, right? If you're aware of yourself, knowing thyself, like Rook said, you're going to be able to tell, hey, does this family member actually have my best interest at heart? And can I value their opinion? So that's my 2 cents on it.
Oh, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Appreciate you, man. That's fire.
Very good.
That's fire. And then we'll bring Cody up for his final thoughts. Cody was here for pretty much the whole conversation. Cody, final thoughts, bro.
I agree with a lot of what Viking said. I mean, my point is still the same. I think that it would bring a lot of accountability and community to the aspect of it. Obviously, we're not talking about arranged marriage, the arranging dates or courtship for younger kids. I think it's a good idea. It gives them a good place to figure it out, because that's one of the things that I think hurts our societies. We're not really taught, at least wholesomely, ways to interact with the other sex in relationships. We're fed a lot of propaganda and a lot of like debaucherous activity. So I think having the opposite way would be a really good thing. Obviously, I'm not for mandating nothing, but I think it could be done very well and would have a great effect.
Shit, that's what's up. Final word from brother Cody, checking in from the north, our brother to the north. And Rook, you probably didn't hear the beginning of the show, but we were talking about that. Like, should our society take a more proactive approach and maybe encourage arranged relationships? What's your take on that?
Arrangement. Well, I've had a lot of experience with the Afghan community, as you know.
Yes, sir.
And you know, Afghanistan. And they have a lot of arranged marriages and stuff like that. I've had a lot of experience with that stuff. So you guys were talking about arranged relationships.
Yes.
By parents,
by family, by parents, family.
Members?
Yeah. So grandma,
I mean, that
uncles.
kind of, I guess, you know, I didn't hear the first part of the whole thing, but like Viking and Cody, right?
Yes.
Have it. They're on point. I agree with them 100%. You cannot have anyone, family, friends, no one, give you advice on what's right for you if you know who you are. And the only way you can know who you are, and this will really work when you're young, is to just go off and live your life on your own and not even worry about smashing or nothing. That's what I did. You know, you travel the world. You can do it on a shoestring. You educate yourself. If you don't want to go to college, you just do it autodidactically. You build who you are as a man, because I know we're talking in terms of, you know, from the male perspective here. And then what comes after that should really fit the mold of who you are, so that things should, in theory, and by in theory, I mean they probably won't work out like they do on paper, but you at least know who you are. At least you know who you are at that time in your life. Like, I know, like in my 20s, I felt like I knew who I was. And in my 30s, I look back on my 20s and I'm like, I didn't know fuck. Can I cuss on here? I guess I can. And then, you know, into my 40s, I looked back on my 30s and I was like, I didn't know shit then either. Now in my 50s, you know, I'm thinking back on my 40s and I'm like, I was starting to get there. But maybe now in my 50s, when I get to my 60s, maybe I don't know who I am. But the whole point of all of this is, and I think we can all agree on this, is just focus on who you want to be as your own man. And everything else, whether it falls into place or not, at least you'll know when you're on the wrong path and when you're on what you feel is the right path. I was on the wrong path when I tried to date someone who had kids. And it was a big L for me. That's why I gave it that story for y'all. But if you know who you are and you feel good about who you are, you go into every situation confident. You won't feel like you need to be someone you're not. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out not because of you. It doesn't work out because them, maybe them, those whoever isn't where they should be. They don't know themselves. I can speak from experience. 90% of the people you're going to run into in a club or a bar or whatnot aren't going to know who they are. And I can go into a whole nother story, maybe in a pay-per-view version of this, of how to manipulate that.
Patreon coming after 2,000 subs.
But if you're not too much of a scoundrel, then you at least know that that's not right for you. How's that? I don't know.
That works, man. Like, and I appreciate you, man. That yeah, I think we'll end on that. I think that you know, Brother Rook, Brother Cody, Brother Viking is king, or Cody is king and Brother Viking Paradigm. My bad for mixing up the names. But you can see that we're all of the same mind. We are all who we are, right? And I think
we all want to be better, right?
We all want to be better, and we know who we are. Y'all know I talk about Sun Tzu over here all the time. Know yourself, know your enemy, right? And I'm not calling women the enemy, but I'm just saying, you know yourself, you know.
No. The second you have an enemy is when you have a problem.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have any enemies. Maybe there might be some competition. That's good though. That should be a motivator. But if you have an enemy, then you should start to ask yourself, maybe there's something wrong with me, where I start to think that I do have enemies. You see what I'm saying?
I agree with you. But like the Sun Tzu in Art of War, the point he was making, if you know everything about yourself and you know everything about that other person or that other thing, whatever that thing is, how can you lose? If you know yourself, you know your enemy, you can never lose.
Yeah, you know both sides. You can read Sun Tzu and you can read The Prince. That's another really good short
Machiavelli.
Read. Yeah, Machiavelli.
Yeah. So we encourage that. Yeah, we encourage that over here.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's good to meet you, Viking Paradigm. Mr. Sledgehammer. See you there.
Yeah, Cody is king. Yeah.
One of these days we'll all meet up in Florida with DL.
Hell yeah, man.
And,
bring your ammo, man. Bring your ammo, because I still got all my toys. You come down here, we're gonna
load my own, man. You know, so my shit is accurate.
I appreciate you popping up, Brooke.
All right, thanks everybody. I appreciate you having me on.
Peace.
So,
man, I ain't even check my. So I guess to sum things up, man. What Rook was talking about, man, I think that the red pill message, the Mano Swamp, I think that message needs to come out more and more. I'm definitely going to do a push on that myself. You truly got to know yourself. I've talked about that in the past. If you're acting like a G, if you're acting like Andrew Tate, or you're acting like Fresh, or you're acting like whoever, it's not going to take that woman long to realize that's not you. But to what I think Cody was saying is, if you're just trying to smash, it doesn't matter. That's great. That's a great tool for the short term. But when you're looking at long term, that might not serve you well at all. So I just wanted to leave it there, man. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all check out these brothers. Support them when you see them. I'm gonna do this way. Support them when you see them in other chats. Before I get out of here, Brother Viking, anything else you want to say?
I'll just drop my link in the chat. Please give me a follow. And like I said, we are all about self-improvement, right? That you can't win the game if you're not set up to win.
And Brother Cody, anything you want to say? That was perfect advice there, Viking.
Yes. Sorry, there was a bunch of helicopters flying over by. I was trying to hide inside, but DL, when are you gonna start chopping up your content, making shorter videos and clips of your most viral stuff, man? You got to get on it.
I have slacked off because, you know, if you look at my shorts, they do really well. So I just got to get on and grab my phone. It's easy to chop them up.
That's what's getting pumped right now, man. I told you that like almost a year ago.
You did.
Let's go.
And that's why I started. I got a lot of shorts out there. They got some good ones, but I have slacked off. And you know what? That's on me.
But you're mostly making new shorts. I'm saying, like, you got a lot of content. Just go through your lives, go through your personal videos. I mean, it'll require some sitting time, but man, you could be. I'm telling you, there's some funny stuff that's been on this channel before.
Dude, I'm gonna go through there. And you're right, because I'll use the YouTube short function. And I'll pull up one of the lives, and then I'll find the shit that I like, and I'll cut that up. So then I also do, like I'm gonna do later on today. We got a late show planned for today. I'm about to make that thumbnail, put that up at midnight Eastern time. But I'm gonna do another show between now and then. talking about the dangers of being a paratrooper. I saw some good shit. I wanted to show you guys, but I do go out and I'll make a short video like 7 minutes, and that's what you're talking about. I'll put that out, and even those 7 to 4 minute videos are doing better than the long form stuff.
30 seconds.
Yeah, I do a minute
15
on
seconds.
yeah,
15,
I do no more
10.
than a minute on there. Yeah, damn. Okay, that's gonna take.
Yeah,
Okay.
for the
I'm
shorts.
serious. I'm serious.
Yeah, for shorts, it usually you want to keep it 15 to 30 seconds.
I did one red pill short, and within 2 minutes, it got 2,000 something views. It got higher, but then they took away a bunch of likes and shit. Stopped promoting it, but like that, man.
Okay,
it works.
So real, you're
Just
talking
saying.
about real short, less like you're talking about less than 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Like mine was probably a minute, but like for all your content, when I'm talking about cutting and doing clips, dude, yeah, 10 seconds. Throw in somebody's joke, bring up fucking Dusto's weird face and saying something dumb. I don't know.
Okay.
It's just something quick. You know, you can fire them out.
Okay, I appreciate it. I'm gonna have to make it happen, and this is how it's supposed to work, guys. This is why you have you got your folks in your corner giving you advice and staying on you. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for doing that. And like Cody, he sends me DMs all the time, letting me know. Yo, I appreciate that, man, because this YouTube shit, man. Yeah, this YouTube shit ain't easy. I don't know about
He
people
doesn't
think
listen, but I try.
I'm hard headed, bro. Sorry.
well, a good way to put it, I would say, would be DL. I know you because you're a high IQ individual, right? You're always trying to make it meaningful, right? So the thing is that for the shorts are just to get the foot in the door. So the idea is it doesn't necessarily have to be meaningful. It just needs to be impactful, right?
Quick attention.
So, yeah. It's that TikTok brain, and you're just accessing the TikTok brain to get people's attention diverted. Like, hey, over here, right? That's
a
more or less
dopamine
what the
hit.
shorts are doing.
You know, even if it's like a quick talking point, just the talking point, boom. You know, fuck, they might rewatch that a few times. You know what I mean? It keeps them wanting more. It makes them want to click on your shit to see what's going on over here. Just saying.
Curiosity.
It's on. I'm gonna do my thumbnail. I'm gonna prep the show that I'm gonna do later on tonight, and then I'm gonna do at least 2 clips, quick ones. Cody, you're gonna see them. I'm gonna send them to you. Like, I did it. Here it is. And then you can critique me and let me know. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that's good, but try this instead.
Get Tyrus being a simp on there or something. You know, man, just like a quick 10-second.
That's hilarious. We haven't heard from Brother Tyrus.
I just see it a post of it, so it reminded me. So
that's what's up.
But yeah.
So I appreciate it, fellas. Like I said, we are 2 hours and 21 minutes into my 1 hour show. This is like great. I appreciate it. Brother Rook, I'm glad you popped up. Next time Jay Swans might pop up. You never know who might pop over here. Everyone in the chat, thanks for checking us out, man. Thanks for the support. I really appreciate it. We got a little over 1,900 subscribers and growing. Wow. I mean, wow. You know, we're 2K on the way. So I'm DL Saint. Underneath me there, that's Brother Cody is King, aka Mr. Sledgehammer. We got Viking Paradigm in the house. Appreciate all of y'all. Thank you so much. We are out of here. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.